Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I loved it.
My name's Jay Milne. #Blue.
Our sports update deliverer, the Coon.
I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up today.
You know what, Reid?
You might be honest.
All right, here's what's going on in the Nest.
All right, how you doing today? Oilers coming off a victory, practicing today at Rogers Place. They will play the Dallas Stars on Wednesday. By the way, have you seen the start times for the Oilers games that remain in the regular season? You're going to be up late a lot. Not every game, but most of them start at 7:30 or later. There's a matinee in there. There's an earlier game in Winnipeg in there. Some of these games start at 8 or 8:30, so that's where we're looking at the rest of the way. And as we've seen, usually in the first round of the playoffs as well, we're stuck with a lot of 8 o'clock games. So anyway, that's coming up. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, neither gentleman practiced today for the Edmonton Oilers, and neither one looks like they're going to play in the short-term future, perhaps in the 3 games this week. So you got Dallas on Wednesday, in Seattle on Thursday, and then home to the Calgary Flames, who are still alive for a playoff spot, though hanging on a little more thinly lately. The St. Louis Blues have gone 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're 4 up on the Flames. Now, the Flames do have 3 games in hand, though St. Louis has overtaken them in terms of points percentage. So that could be a massive game for the Flames. Well, likely will be a massive game for the Flames coming up on Saturday. But we may not see neither Draisaitl nor McDavid in any 3 of those games. We're going to hear from head coach Chris Knobloch when we get to the Oil Understood in about 17 or 18 minutes. You're going to hear from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Darnell Nurse as well. How about the Nuge? A hat trick. Another 3-point game. Hernan's thrilled about him. I know, I'm sure many, if not all of you, are thrilled about the Nuge coming through because he's a very popular player and certainly emerging as the Oilers' offensive leader with 29 and 97 out of action. How you doing, everybody? Reid Wilkins with you. Jason Milne is off today. Those were your headlines for Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program. Take your career to the next level with Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, a perfect tool for professionals looking to advance their role or an organization needing to develop leaders. For more information and to register, visit nate.ca/CLSP to take your career to another level. So here's how the Oilers were deployed at practice this morning at Rogers Place. Nugent-Hopkins with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Kapanen moving up to play with Henrique and Hyman. Jeff Skinner, Janmark, and Brown remaining together. And Perry bumped down with Derek Ryan and Max Jones. Matthias Ekholm didn't skate. I wonder how often he's going to practice the rest of the way, by the way. I wonder if he becomes one of these players that you rarely see on the ice during a practice, just so he can continue to sort of not overtax himself, given how he plays and some of the issues he's had this season. So Evander Kane played defense with Evan Bouchard today. Nurse with Wallman, Kulak with Stetcher, Klingberg with Emberson. So, based on that, it looks like perhaps Emberson will remain a scratch on Wednesday night. Chris Knobloch will talk about that because Stetcher's been getting the look there the last couple of games. And Knobloch, not critical of Emberson, but just saying he's, been having a bit of a long season, playing a lot of games, so he's been getting some games off here. Skinner and Pickard, of course, are the 2 goaltenders. That 8 o'clock game on Wednesday, we're going to have a 7 o'clock Oil Stream GCL Diesel pregame show with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. If you would like to get in touch, then I will give you the means by which to do so. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. I usually get a limerick or 2 there. If you want to write in anything else, I'm happy to get your emails. You can text the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, which reminds me, I have to open that page, 780-218 $99.99. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 Restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. And you can also jump into the Nasty Chat on YouTube and talk with me, more importantly with each other. Nasty Chat sometimes takes on a life of its own. I will jump in like a referee between two goaltenders about to fight if I see anything getting a little too heated. You can debate, you can even argue. Don't make it personal. Don't be insulting. But for the most part, it's very, very on the rails there. And if you are watching on YouTube, remember to click the little Fonzie button, give the show a thumbs up. Are you doing a word of the day, Coop? If we get there, we got to get to at least 130. Hopefully, we're going to get to 100, and which would be a double word of the day. I can also tell you this. Speaking of the headlines for Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, the Western Hockey League playoffs are set. The Oil Kings are going to play Prince Albert, and the Western Hockey League is growing. They are putting a team in Penticton, and Chilliwack is going to get a team. So the way I understand it is Penticton's getting one right away, and then Chilliwack's getting one in a couple of years. But Guy Flaming is going to join me in studio at 4 o'clock. Guy, a great friend of Edmonton Sports Talk. In fact, did he not win? What was that he won, Coop? Did he not win top friend of EST? He was.
Well, he sure is a great friend.
He's our best friend.
EST.
He's literally EST's best friend. He won an EST for being a great friend of EST. So Guy's going to drop by. We'll talk some Oilers. We'll talk some Dub. We'll talk Pipeline Show. Probably at some point. Here's the thing about Guy that I've learned. I talked to him before, but I've got to know him a little better since I started here at Edmonton Sports Talk, and he will participate in the show by texting into me or Jay or posting something in the Nasty Chat or wherever. He's a big science fiction fan. I would say bigger than I am. Like I'd say I'm a fairly big science fiction fan. Like I know the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek, but I don't know everything about. Certainly Star Trek, I would say I don't know as deeply as Star Wars. But I think he wanted to do a Star Trek themed idea today. So we'll get to Guy as we move along. So no Jay Milne today. He's off until Thursday. Zachary Kubish is here as our sports update deliverer and technical producer. Koob, old man, how are you doing?
Never been called an old man before. I was feeling good until you made that comment.
I just meant old chap.
We're doing good.
You're fine. I'm glad to see you wearing Edmonton Sports Talk merch. I have known you long enough that now I'm going to blatantly say something critical of you. Well, I've strongly implied it. It annoys the hell out of me when you wear the merch of NHL teams that aren't the Oilers. Like it actually bothers me. And I'm not saying you have to be a homer. And as I've said numerous times, it's not like I cheer for the Oilers, but like we're the home city. And right. Now, not all of it, but when you trotted out that Vegas Golden Knights stuff, I just was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, I thought that was shoveled in the
doing?
dirt. That was... I like to play the little bit of the devil's advocate.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something, buddy. You haven't been at this long enough to play devil's advocate.
I know. I wore that hat.
Okay.
I kind of a fuel to the fire kind of thing like that. I stepped in the coals for the first time, and I didn't know how hot they were.
All right. Now, did you wear something during the playoffs of the team the Oilers were playing?
Yeah, I lost in fantasy, and the punishment was that I had to wear an LA Kings jersey to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh, you didn't wear it on air.
Season.
You didn't wear it on air.
I didn't wear it on air.
Okay.
Thankfully.
No, that's good you didn't wear it on air.
Yeah, I definitely
I like the Edmonton Sports Talk stuff. Mm. Now, I'm not telling you how to dress. I'm just sharing my opinion. I still love you.
I love you too.
Have you ever received any audience feedback when you wear the attire of NHL teams who may be considered rivals of the Oilers?
I have quite a few times. I mean, from you here around the office.
No, audience feedback.
Yes, of course.
I'm not an audience member. I may be a voice in the wilderness here, like a lone coyote howling at the moon.
Right. I wore a Kraken hat one time. I collect hats.
Were the Oilers playing the Kraken?
Not really within that same week. Now I try. Okay. If I do ever wear it, I do it where I know they're not going to play them for a few weeks.
See, I think if you're going to do, this is just my opinion. You do whatever you want, and it should be clear. I'm not your boss. Dustin Nielsen is the owner of the station. And then Matthew Iwanek would be considered, one of our superiors as well. I would just think if you're going to do that, then you have to do it pretty much every day. You have to be the kid, and let's face it, you are, what are you, like 14?
21.
21. I think then you have to be the guy that wears it every day. So you're blatantly saying, this has nothing to do with me hoping for a team, cheering for or against the team. I'm the jersey and hat guy. And I'm going to have a story behind everything. Like, I got this Seattle Kraken hat in Seattle from Jordan Eberle, who was like operating a kiosk on the street. So like, you got to have, or I'm going to wear I'm going to wear a Flames jersey, not because I hate the Oilers or because I like the Flames, but like it's a Lanny McDonald signed jersey, and I'm wearing that on the show. And you got to do that almost every day. So it reaches the point where when the camera goes on you I know you have the camera on yourself now on YouTube, but when the camera goes on you for the sports updates, people are anticipating, what is Coop going to be wearing today? This guy always has the coolest stuff. Now, I'm guessing you don't have the resources for that at the moment. Probably financial and probably the closet space. So what we need to do is we need to build up your persona, and maybe we get you a sponsor, a merch sponsor, and they give you something cool to wear every day.
That's a great idea.
That's the idea, as opposed to like you wear normal stuff, and then the day before, like the Oilers are playing the Hurricanes, you're wearing a Hurricane sweater. And like, what, does this kid actually like the Hurricanes? What's going on? That's my thought on this.
Right. I do try and wear it. Like when there's a story, I wore the Bruins hat when Marchand scored in overtime for Team Canada.
Yeah, that actually made sense to some extent.
And I was wearing, I think, the Canadian kind of hoodie jersey, whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. Maybe the Red Wings were playing one day or something like that. I wore a Red Wings hat. Ovi's quite close to breaking Gretzky's all-time scoring leader record. I might wear the Washington Capitals cap.
Now, do you have a Ovechkin cap? Ovechkin jersey?
I don't have an Ovechkin jersey. Yeah. I might have to go out and get
one.
See,
this is how I think. I put thought, like Loomis says, alternatively, do what you want, and then Loomis puts, be prepared for the backlash, though. No, Loomis, I'm not discouraging him from doing what he wants. I'm just saying there's a way to make this a little more synergistic, a little more meaningful, perhaps a little more financially viable for Edmonton Sports Talk if we sponsor Coob's Attire.
You will never catch me dead in a Flames or Canucks jersey, though.
Oh, really?
Never. Ever. I might have one in the back of my closet just because I collect the jerseys, but I don't have a Flames jersey.
So what if Hawk and Lube walked in right now and gave you a signed Flames jersey?
I would say, well, that's awesome. We'll put it up maybe on the wall for a day, and I don't know. It'll be in the back of somebody's closet, protected. Hawk and Lube. Good name.
Jill says, do the Oilers pay the bills? I think it's okay. All right. Yeah, really. Yeah, where you want, but there may be backlash from listeners and from around the audience.
Oh, there has been.
Yeah.
There for sure.
Like, hey, I get backlash. There's always there's people who hate Def Leppard. Oh, trust me, I get mocked, but I'm just like, whatever. Yeah. It's my favorite. It's my favorite band. I probably have a half dozen Def Leppard T-shirts.
Well, it's not like Def Leppard and Motley Crue have a huge rivalry or anything, and you're defending a bunch of Motley Crue.
You know what
fans,
I should just get a shirt with Hernan's face on it, and he should get one with my face on it.
That'd be fantastic.
And then we'll wear one after each other on our shows. Anyway, hey Coop, you're a good sport though. You're a good kid. I love you.
Love you too. That's good. Now we need to get the sponsorship.
Just heed me. That's what I'm saying. Just heed me, young man. Always give me a good heeding. Mex Bezozu, wasn't this the early John? How's it? John Cena? How do you say it? John Cena or John Cena?
Cena.
See, I don't even know. John Cena. He was excellent in Peacemaker, by the way. Wasn't that the John Cena persona wearing retro jerseys at different cities? Was it?
I'm not really sure. I know he's like, he is a sports fan. He's a big sports guy as well. I think I've seen him in a couple basketball kind of jerseys and stuff like that. I don't know if he was rocking a bunch of like NHL style jerseys. That could be true, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
All right.
He is a rapper though. He has a rap album out.
Does he?
He does. Full length rap album. It's well produced and everything like that. He's wrote all the lyrics and everything. He's a musician and a wrestler and an actor and a good guy.
Talented man. Duck Dad says the most offending attire I have seen on EST is whenever Awanak is wearing that cursed Yoshi t-shirt. I don't even know. Does he have a Yoshi t-shirt?
He does.
The Yoshi
he
from
loves
Super
Yoshi.
Mario?
Yes, he loves that Yoshi t-shirt too.
Is that the little dinosaur guy?
Yeah, the green dino.
No,
that,
I heard. Okay, I heard it. I'm not saying it's true. I heard Yoshi is Dino's son. Dino from the Flintstones. I heard that's his son.
What?
Yeah.
The lore goes pretty deep.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything to anybody.
I won't. Nobody knows.
We got the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel coming up in a few minutes. Saturday, I didn't watch a lot of sports on Saturday besides going to the Oilers game. Yesterday, I saw quite a bit of NCAA basketball. I saw the Maryland game against Colorado State. A great ending. Oregon, Arizona was on. I think there was a couple other games they were flipping through. That Maryland game was incredible. Buzzer beater ending. Was it? Not that yet. We'll do that one later. We want the commercial here, Coop. So, but one thing I noticed is that there's one, and sometimes this happens. Sometimes this happens, especially if you watch sports. There's always that commercial or two or three that seems to be on every commercial set during every game. So if you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, you're going to see the same commercial about 500 times. And here's one that I noticed coming up a lot. We can roll it because we don't need the audio, Coob. We can roll it whenever you want. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll see it. The Big Uke already knows what it is in the nasty chat. He says the effing jeans. Yes, it is Beyonce in the Levi's ad with, I believe, there are 3 close-ups in 15 seconds of her posterior, which I would guess is probably one of the more famous posteriors in the world. For the last few years, but it's like, wow, this commercial is on a lot. And I think it was more on during the NCAA, but there's still a couple weekends of that left. So I wonder how many times we're going to get close-ups of Beyonce's butt as we watch through the conclusion of the NCAA tournament. So here's what I want to ask, and I have one of my own, though I couldn't find it. Maybe I'll have to Google it again here during the show, or somebody will remember. But the off-topic topic, as always, is presented by our friends at William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout at 780-454-4536. I want you to tell me the most annoying / overplayed commercial that you can remember. What is the most annoying? Yeah, I guess annoying because it was overplayed and maybe it wasn't that good to begin with. I'm sure there are some people who are going to say, Reid, I'm thrilled about Beyonce's butt being close up on television, so maybe they don't find it annoying, but it's already getting overplayed for me. And there's one I remember. Hernan, can you hear this? Did I tell you the chain commercial? Did we decide what that was? You were there when I was telling you about it. Or was that Eric I was telling? Okay. So, all right, because Hernan actually works. I just walk around talking to people all the time. So, I want to say it was in the 90s, but maybe now that I think about it, it was the early 2000s. And it was on during the NFL playoffs. And I think this was when, Global or ITV would carry NFL playoff games. Okay, and I think I used to get this out by Evansburg, so I must have been maybe home over Christmas or something, and it seemed to be on a lower. Maybe all the Canadian commercials were overriding the American commercials. But it was either for a truck or some kind of chain that was really strong, and they made it look as if someone was dragging this chain around the perimeter of a mountain and then attaching it to a truck. And then they went to this long shot of the mountain. And then it was if this chain was so strong, when the truck drove away, it pulled the entire mountain. And I can't remember the company and I can't remember what it was for, but, and it was on all the time. And it was a very low budget, poorly made, poor graphics, at least from what I remember, commercial, and it was on all the time. Like, all the time. And I wish I could remember the company. I hope somebody else remembers this, but it was either for a chain or towing or something like that. Something like that. So that is the first one that comes to mind for me. Big Slam Nasty says it's an easy answer when the Good Doctor or the rookie previews are being played during the NFL season. I was thinking more commercials for products. What's the matter, Coop?
Is this the same one where they stack trucks on top of each other?
No.
That's a separate
No,
one.
that was this was different. This was probably before you were born, or around the time you were born. KD said the old TELUS ones with the animals were painful. Van Owen, the old Denny Andrews commercials with that annoying kid. Oh, wow. Spency 5 Censy says the Ozempic commercials are so annoying. Yeah, those are getting overplayed quite a bit. Jasmine, a few minutes ago, said, I love that butt. Geez, thanks, Jasmine. I don't know why you chose that way to tell me, but maybe she's talking about Beyonce's. I don't know. I'm not sure if I should be flattered or not. So what is the most annoying / overplayed commercial? Perhaps one that comes up repeatedly over the course of, a sporting event that takes several weeks to play out that you're just like, my God, this thing is on again. Okay, so that's the off-topic topic. 780-218-9999 is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. Barry the Cheater says, can we get a Paul Stanley scream? It gets me in the mood. Well, talk about whatever gets you to the mood. Hey, baby, how you feeling? Talk dirty to me. Well, that was Poison, not Kiss. Read at EdmontonSportsTalk.com is the email. And again, participate in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there as well. We want to first get to 100 and then see if we can get up to 130, 155 into Word of the Day territory. It says we have 3 thumbs up. Are people boycotting the thumbs up? They might be boycotting it.
They just don't like the commercials.
There might be an organized boycott.
There's more thumbs up.
All right. We will hear from Nuge. We'll hear from Chris Knobloch. We'll hear from Darnell Nurse. But here is the Edmonton Sports Talk apparel-adorned Zachary Kubish.
Both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will miss at least a couple more games, according to Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, who addressed the media after practice this morning. Meanwhile, Canucks general manager Patrick Elvine has announced that Thatcher Demko has been activated from the injured reserve. 4 games around the NHL tonight. Vancouver hits the ice in New Jersey. The Red Wings take on the Hockey Club. The Wild have puck drop with the Stars, while the Blue Jackets face the Islanders. And the Raptors are back in action without RJ Barrett and Grady Dick, who continues to rest a bone bruise on his right knee. Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl both return against the Wizards. 7 other games dot the NBA slate, including the Lakers and Magic hitting the court. The Pacers battling the Timberwolves before Sacramento hosts Boston. And in the curling world, Brianne Harris has joined Manitoba's championship team Kate Cameron as their new third. Harris has won the Scotties tournament 4 times and also won 2 bronze medals at the World Women's Curling Championship. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Visit Find Edmonton or call them at 780-FindEdmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. More with Reid Wilkins on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
2 guys and a goalie.
Playing Winnipeg, so you're playing a really good team. Leon's probably going to be out, and you know that Leon's been doing everything. And so for Connor, I kind of feel like it could be some very positive motivation. I mean, there's not a lot of people or things that can push him or challenge him. And I feel like this is one where it's like, well, maybe mentally and emotionally, it can pull that out of him a little bit.
2 guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
UFC 314 goes down at the Canadian Brewhouse on April 12th. Watch every knockout on the most TVs with epic food and drinks in the best atmosphere. Don't miss the action. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at gcldiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Saskatoon Muncher says the off-topic topic, the Rogers Wrapped in Red event commercials got annoying. Which I don't even remember those. A couple people have mentioned those. I don't even remember those. Rogers Wrapped in Red. Was that a?
I think it was like a singy song. The Rogers
three
Wrapped in Red
people
event.
have written in the last 2 minutes. Wow, I don't even remember those. See, that's the thing. It's just like what sticks in your brain. I think Beyonce's butt will stick in most people's brains for one reason or another. Mech says the Budweiser WhatsApp commercial was already annoying, and then everyone in the real world started doing it, which then became doubly annoying. Big Uke. Oh, he's saying commercials that he liked. I'm not doing commercials that you liked. Some people don't like the John Hamm. What's he for? Skip?
Skip the dishes where he's like, hey again, Bob.
And is he not... Is that not specifically Skip the Dishes Canada? Did not
Specifically, yeah.
Yeah, like they went and got John Hamm. Like they could have used a Canadian celebrity, right? But they went and got John Hamm to do something specifically that's only airing in Canada. Is that not how it works? I
believe
so.
it is. They have like 2 or 3 different variations of it, and it's the same thing as the Rogers. They have the Rogers Xfinity one with Keanu Reeves, where he's like,
yes, I was
playing
just going to bring
games.
those up.
That's the one, man. Oh, I don't like that.
Are those getting, because they were funny at first, and now they're on so much. And I appreciate his energy. Like, what if I jumped through the window? And then he goes and plays guitar solo. And at first, it was funny when he's supposed to be playing with his nephew or whatever. And he's like, ha 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 ha. And at first, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And now I'm like, okay.
It wears off the
that's
second
enough.
time, even. Like you see it once, you're like, oh, okay, I don't need to ever see that again. And then it runs again.
Okay, people are now emailing me. Yeah, this is the same commercial you sent me, Coob, and it is not the one where the Chevys are stacked on top of each other and are towing each other. It's not that one. Somebody else sent me one too. No, it is not that one, guys. Here's the thing. I believe it was for a local company, a Nisku-based or Leduc or something company that must have decided they were going to have some ads and put them on during the NFL playoffs, and away they went. So I'm sorry I can't remember. I was trying to find it. I'm not sure what to put in. I tried chain pulling a mountain commercial, and it doesn't come up, but I think it was an Edmonton area company that had these commercials. So Coob showed me this. I don't remember that Chevy truck commercial. So the premise of that one is they stack all these rocks and then put Chevy trucks on top of the rocks, and then a Chevy truck tows all that.
Yeah, they're so strong. They're stronger than the trucks, and they can go over the rocks and pull the trucks with the rocks together.
It's not that one. And I'm not saying that that's not an annoying commercial, but yeah. VR Montenegro, Ed Hervey says that there are no Canadian celebrities. He actually typed celery and he at first.
Do we make celery in Canada?
Where's the Canadian celery? That'd be a great commercial. Doing a taste test. You're biting different celeries and guessing what countries it came from. Okay, we'll circle back to that off-topic topic. Text in, email, put in the nasty chat. Rob from the Grove says, was it for Capit? Maybe. It was at least 20 years ago. But boy, these Rogers roll out the red, they are getting obliterated. Like they, if anybody from Rogers is tuning in today, the roll out the red event commercials, not popular with the Edmonton Sports Talk audience. Okay. One thing that is popular with the large majority of our audience is the Edmonton Oilers, and it's time for the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. All right. No McDavid. No Draisaitl. Still. Could we see them this week? Here's Knobloch.
Connor not. Leon's still not. He's not day-to-day yet. So they're going to be still a while. So we'll be playing a couple of games without him at least. So it's good for those other guys that they know that they're going to get some more playing time.
Okay, so doesn't sound encouraging that either guy will play over the next 3 games. That's that. Knobloch asked about not having Draisaitl and McDavid, and can it help fire up some other guys here?
We hope in the long run this is good for us. Or losing, Connor and Leon. Do we ever want them out of the lineup? No. Probably in the short term, it's harder for us to win games and move up in the standings, and we want to win as many games as possible. But, for collectively our team, we want to be at our best for the playoffs. That's the most important thing. And this little break without having those two, maybe that helps us. Other guys find their game and they're able to step it up, because we need them more. They're playing more. Their guys are on the power play, last minutes, whether it's up or down a goal. So hopefully they can build a little confidence and feel good about it.
Well, Nugent Hopkins obviously stepping up here, and I thought, look, it's never perfect, but they got the win against Seattle. They got 4 goals on a goaltender and another one into an empty net to put it away. Nuge getting a long overdue hat trick. I thought that was a pretty good performance by the Oilers. I'm at the point of the season, and you can see the playoffs now. They're growing ever closer on the horizon. Just win. Just figure it out. Now, Seattle's not a great team. They got some dangerous players, but they're not a great team. So your problem that night was the Seattle Kraken, who can take advantage of open ice if they give it to you, and trying to win without McDavid and Draisaitl, and the Oilers solved that problem. And I thought for the most part it was a pretty good game, and what encouraged me was the same thing that encouraged me in the third period against Winnipeg, was that even without McDavid and Draisaitl, they were able to get the puck into the zone and go to work on the forecheck. I thought they got into trouble when they were maybe a little too fancy at the offensive blue line. And instead of getting it in just by a straight line approach, they maybe tried to pass it around a little bit or make a dangerous play at the blue line. So that encouraged me. I thought they hustled. I thought they worked to get the puck to the net. You had the Nuge with the hat trick. Jeff Skinner scores again. Good for him. Good play by Connor Brown to keep that play alive and get it to him in the slot as well. So I think other players have stepped up. It's not going to look as dangerous or as fancy or perhaps as explosive as it would with Draisaitl or McDavid in the lineup, but it still resulted in a victory. Yes, Dallas is a completely different animal coming up in a couple of days. The Stars have 92 points. They are tied with Vegas for the second most points in the Western Conference. In the Central Division, they trail only Winnipeg. So going to be a lot different on Wednesday without McDavid or Draisaitl. But, again, hopefully if the Oilers play in a straight line, play responsibly, don't take chances, do all the little detailed things that help win hockey games, they're going to be okay. Ty Emberson sat out the last couple of games on the back end. Here's Knobloch.
I'll continue where he left off, and I think, he's had a good season. He's played more games than he ever has in the NHL. Last year he played 41 games, and it was ended with a season-ending injury. This year I'm not sure what games. He's well over that, probably 60 plus. And right now, we just have many defensemen right now. So, we want him being a good puck mover, checking. He's, using his feet, and then also the penalty kill, which he's been a big part of that. When it's been going well, he's been a big part of that success. So, I don't necessarily think it's necessary that he was playing poorly, that we took him out of the lineup. It was just we had Ekholm come back. Other guys were playing really well as our unit, and he was just the odd guy out.
So, I think that we will see Emberson again. I think Knobloch alluding to the fact there that Emberson's playing more NHL hockey than he's ever played at any other point in his young career. So Stetcher's been getting a look there. I think we're going to. Look, I don't think Klingberg's been great. I think we'll see him again at some point between now and the end of the regular season as well. Evander Kane was lined up on defense today, so he's building towards a return in the playoffs at some point. We don't know when. Trent Frederick remains out probably at least a couple of weeks before we see him. But just some Oilers lineup notes. Also, big burst here for Nugent Hopkins. Here's Chris Knobloch once again.
Yeah, Ryan's playing his best hockey of the year right now. A lot more confidence, being in the middle of the ice, making plays. But, he's been primarily, most of the season, he's been first line left winger, first power play unit, first penalty kill over the boards, last minutes, whether we're down a goal, up a goal, we rely on him quite a bit. And, Leon joked last year about him being the coach's favorite. But we certainly appreciate everything that Ryan does for the team.
How does he look in the middle as opposed to on the wing? What different things does he give you guys?
Well, I think he can play both, and right now, he is playing his best hockey, and he is playing center, and I don't necessarily think that he has to play center to playing his best. I think it's just they work just at the timing. It is what it is right now. It's easier to get out of a funk or kind of find your game because of the rhythm of the game and the way he plays. You just touch the puck more. You're able to make more plays. You're on the move. It's just a better situation. And he's been making the most of it. And also the two wingers that he's got right now are playing probably their best hockey right now. So collectively, those three we've been very happy with.
All right, a little bit there from Chris Knobloch on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and his line mates he's been with, Bud Colson and Arvidsson lately. You're going to hear from Nuge and hear from Darnell Nurse as we move along throughout the afternoon. I want to give you some context for three-point games by Nugent-Hopkins and how often they happen. Still getting a lot of submissions. I'm not going to be able to read them all on air, everybody, but I appreciate you checking in for William Huff, the off-topic topic, the most annoying and or overplayed commercial you can remember. Mike from Calgary, JG Wentworth, call 877 cash now. There was actually a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode with it in it. I don't remember that one. Somebody has said the Diamond and Diamond commercials. Yes, I knew somebody who would mock those whenever they were on. I think they're still on, aren't they? The Diamond and Diamond commercials. They're on a lot during Oilers games, correct? So those are coming in. Duck Dad said Zach is doing word of the day. Did he shut off the thumbs up function to avoid it? Did you?
No, I don't have that power.
We think there's something wrong with the thumbs up on YouTube. I think you could still do it. It's just not changing the total. So keep doing it. Maybe it'll update. I don't know. That's kind of weird, but that's all right. You can just put a thumbs up in the chat maybe there too. I don't know what's going on. All right. 780-218-9999, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. Guy Flaming coming up at 4 o'clock. A lot to talk about with him. The Oil Kings are going to play Prince Albert in the WHL. The WHL is expanding by a couple more teams. Is that a good idea or not? Here comes the Coop.
Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch addressed the media after practice this morning, saying that both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are, quote, still going to be a while, so we're going to be playing a couple games without them at least. In a light NHL schedule has Minnesota on the road in Dallas, Utah hosting Detroit, the Canucks battling the Devils in Columbus, visiting Long Island. Meanwhile, Thatcher Demko has been activated off the injured reserve. He's been out since February 8th. With a lower body injury. And no Grady Dick or RJ Barrett for the Raptors as they tip off against the Wizards. Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl both return to action for Toronto. Elsewhere, Philly plays New Orleans. The Celtics and Kings go at it, while Anthony Davis slots back in for the Mavericks as they battle the Nets. And Brianne Harris has joined Team Cameron, skipped by Kate Cameron as their new third, just a handful of weeks after she was cleared to return to action. She missed the past year due to a wrongful suspension for using a banned substance, and the situation faced arbitration where Harris was deemed not at fault for the positive doping test. This sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park, or call them at 780-467-5014. The Reid Wilkins Show returns on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Do you have pets? Horses? Chickens? Did the place you used to get your feed recently close down? Have no fear. Clover Bar Feeds is here. Whether it's dogs, cats, horses, or chickens, Clover Bar Feeds has you covered. Offering a large variety of food and feed, you can trust the experts at Clover Bar Feeds. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. This means you can expect nothing less than top-notch service and selection. Come visit them at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park, or visit them online at cloverbarfeeds.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. Well, what song is this, Coop? This is a fun one.
It's called March On.
It sounds like that. Is this one of the free YouTube ones that you're playing?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The metal on that YouTube audio library, they're all bangers. The metal music.
Oh, neat.
They always hit.
Tabs texting into 780-218-9999, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. With Draisaitl being out these next couple games, does that take him out of the Hart race? I would say no way. It's an interesting debate with individual awards. And dozens of I have never voted on an NHL award. I doubt I ever will. It's the Professional Hockey Writers Association vote on most of them. The broadcasters vote for Coach of the Year, and then the GMs vote for the Vezina, and the players vote for the Ted Lindsay. I would say, in my mind, if a player is playing over 70 games and having an exceptional season, then the missed games shouldn't disqualify him for a trophy. I think if a player has 57 points in 50 games and then he breaks his leg and he's out for the season, maybe his points per game is as high as anybody else or in the top 5. But I think that's not enough games. Remember McDavid's rookie season? There were a lot of Oilers fans who said he should still win the Calder Trophy. He missed half the season with the shoulder injury. I know it's not his fault. I know players don't try to get injured. But injuries are part of the game, and I do think that there's a point where, if I were a voter, where I would say he just simply didn't play enough. He might have eye-popping stats, but other guys played every game or almost every game. Now, if Draisaitl winds up with 76 games played and is the only 50 or maybe 60 goal scorer in the National Hockey League and is first, second, or third in points and has contributed to the Oilers to the extent to which he has contributed in terms of big moments and just all-around play, I think he still wins the Hart Trophy. I don't think missing... let's say he winds up missing 5 games. I don't think that's enough. And again, you talk about the lead in the goal-scoring race. You talk about the significant minutes and situations that he plays in. I don't think that's enough to take him out of the Hart Trophy race, personally. So, no, Tabs, well, maybe you weren't worried about it, but if you're an Oilers fan pulling for Leon to win the Hart Trophy, I don't think missing these few games is going to hurt his cause. And again, he's got a significant lead in the goal-scoring race, might be the only 50-goal scorer in the National Hockey League, and even with missing these games, might still have a flirtation with 60. That's going to be pretty cool. By the way, we are crunching the numbers for Gallo LLP, Chartered Professional Accountants, where they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John at Gallo LLP if you would like to discuss further how they can crunch your numbers and help your business grow. Visit their website, gallollp.ca, and see how Gallo LLP can help your business grow. So, yeah, talking a little bit about Draisaitl there. Nugent Hopkins with 3 3-point games in the last 4 games. Ryan Nugent Hopkins in his career has had 49 games with 3 or more points. Prior to the 3 he had this season, his last one was late last season on April 6, 2024, when he had a goal and 2 assists against the Calgary Flames. So Ryan Nugent Hopkins, on 49 occasions, has had 3 or more points in a single National Hockey League game. He's playing well, and he talked about the absence of Draisaitl and McDavid.
I think everybody feels it. It's a chance for everybody to kind of step up and play their game and maybe play a little bit of a different role for certain guys. But obviously, you lose 2 of the best players in the game. We need to step up and we need to make sure that we're sharp. And I think the way that we've been playing lately is starting to get to the way that we want to. Play come playoff time is making it tough to play against, not giving anything easy to the other team, and building our offense from playing solid defensively.
Well, I know that's something we hear a lot of, that maybe it becomes a little bit cliche or you might get tired of hearing, but I do think that that's true. You build the offense by playing good defense, and I think as the Oilers have picked up their game after that poor play in a lot of February and even into the start of March, I think we've seen them having more guys back. If you just look at how they're defending, there are often 4 or all 5 skaters back lower than the hash marks and between the 2 circles defending the slot. And then you're blocking shots. Then you're getting your stick on the puck. You're getting your stick on another stick. and then you get the puck off that, and then you can go the other way with it. I think they've done a pretty good job of that. I know you'd like to keep the goals against certainly lower than 4, like we saw on Saturday against Seattle, but they still got the win. And I think there's a clear focus. It's all. I don't know if they actually said this to each other, but it's almost as if they said to each other, "Okay, enough screwing around. Like the playoffs are coming up, right? Like let's make sure we're locked in here." So I think there's something to what Nugent Hopkins said there. Darnell Nurse, who has known the Nuge a long, long time, was asked after practice today, so how has Nugent Hopkins changed over the years?
Nuge, honestly, is one of the only people I think I've ever met that hasn't changed. He's the same. Looks the same, sounds the same, carries himself the same. He's just such a mild-mannered, nice, genuine, great teammate, but competitor on the ice too. And I think that's what sometimes gets lost in how nice he is, and it's just how fierce he is once he gets out there and straps on those pads, and how big of a competitor and how much he wants to win each and every night. He's been a leader. I know I can only speak for myself, but coming in here, he set a great example for me as a young guy, and continues to set that example for our team each and every day.
All right, so I think this continues something that we discussed last week, and Knobloch said it in a pretty detailed clip last week, and I gave my take on it, that Knobloch talked about Nugent Hopkins playing center and how he's moving his feet more and he gets to touch the puck more. And what's a criticism that I had of Nugent Hopkins during that stretch of whatever it was, 15 or 16 games when he only had one goal, was that he didn't seem to have a lot of spark to his game, that there wasn't a lot of initiative. He'd sort of been settled into this complementary player role. Well, I'm on the ice, as McDavid's winger, as Draisaitl's winger, as the support guy on the power play, not the guy driving the whole thing. He goes into the middle, which, again, I haven't seen him as a center a lot, as Draisaitl and McDavid have become the stars on the team. I have always thought Nugent Hopkins was now suited better to be one of their wingers, but now he gets moved into the middle, and now, as Knobloch said, he's touching the puck more, he's getting more opportunities, and he has to take the initiative on that line. I mean, let's face it, especially when you're with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. It's not like those guys are wizards with the puck and are going to generate a lot of opportunities with their razzle-dazzle. So now Nugent Hopkins goes to the middle, and he has a couple really good games. And now Nugent Hopkins is in the middle, and now Draisaitl's out, and now McDavid's out, and he goes out and gets a hat trick. So I think that's really encouraging. I'm expecting that when Draisaitl and McDavid return, do you not have to keep Nugent Hopkins down the middle now? Like if Knobloch is right, and that's the secret sauce, that now he can go back to being a center, then I think you have to keep him down the middle. Of course, you always have the option of him going to another wing. And that's another thing that Jay and I have mused about over the course of the season, when we've talked about that nuclear option, having McDavid and Draisaitl together. And is the drawback, like is the nuclear option, should we discuss it as a problem that the Oilers don't have wingers for Draisaitl, or should we discuss it as the problem that the Oilers don't have wingers for Nugent Hopkins? Because let's face it, when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice together, any situation, but 5-on-5, they're otherworldly, as we've discussed. They get the puck into the offensive zone. They can see passing lanes and plays that very few other players in the league can see. So if you have Nugent Hopkins playing well, then you really have even more flexibility with Draisaitl and McDavid, because you can have them on separate lines. And then if you decide to go to the nuclear option, maybe you still have a really strong line with Nugent Hopkins at center. So, that's the discussion that a lot of times, they have to put Draisaitl and McDavid together, is because there are no wingers for Draisaitl, right? Because usually McDavid has got the better wingers. He's had Hyman and he's had Nugent Hopkins when he's played on the wing. And then Draisaitl this year was supposed to have Skinner and Arvidsson. For most of the year, they haven't been very good, yada, yada, yada. The Oilers are losing a game. Knobloch says, oh, crap, we're losing a game. Okay, Connor and Leon, you're together. I don't know what else I'm going to do with the nine other guys. We'll see if they can do anything. I mean, now maybe, heck, I can put Draisaitl and McDavid together, and I can still have a true second line because Nugent Hopkins is playing so well, and that line is being productive. I think that's the hope. That's another option, and that's further flexibility and another thing that can make the team a little harder to defend going into the postseason, which I know is going to be a different animal, but I think this is worth considering with Nuge, as we appear to be on a collision course for another meeting in the first round between the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. I'm sorry, everybody. I do not share optimism for those of you who believe that the Oilers have a good chance to finish first in the Pacific Division. They have one game remaining against the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, sure, you win that. That's a little bit of a swing, but the Golden Knights are 5 points up on the Edmonton Oilers. They're also 5 points up on the LA Kings, who do have a game in hand on both teams. The Oilers are not going to be caught by another Pacific Division team and be knocked out of the playoffs unless something incredibly unusual happens. So it appears that we are headed for another showdown between the Oilers and the Kings. Perhaps we'll see, with Los Angeles having home ice advantage this time around. Still a lot of games left to sort them out, and they do play each other twice. So I think those two games are more of note in terms of how they affect the final standings than the single game that the Oilers have against the Vegas Golden Knights. LA is good, surprisingly good in my mind, better than I thought they would be this season. But as I've been talking about, the Oilers are good too. Both teams are plus 26 in goal differential. The Kings are better at defending, and the Oilers are better offensively. The Oilers' goal differential is 229 to 203. The Kings is 203 to 177. So we could see old Warren Fogle coming to town. Arvidsson going up against his former team. But I just think it's a massive undertaking for the Oilers to outplay the Vegas Golden Knights by 6 points with just 12 games remaining. Possible, yes, the Oilers would have to win the head-to-head game against Vegas, but I really think at this point we're headed toward another meeting with the Los Angeles Kings, and really they're just going to be jockeying for home ice advantage. If you're on YouTube, you can see over my shoulder, absolutely, we're in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. Great to have the Canadian Brewhouse on board as our studio sponsor. It's time for a wing throwdown at the Canadian Brewhouse. 69 cents wing night, flavor of the month, Fuego Verde versus Honey Blaze. Who's taking the crown? Hit up the Canadian Brewhouse for wing night. Our house is your house. We're in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. If you're tuning in to see Jason Milne, I apologize, he's not here. Jason, once again, taking some time off this week. He will rejoin me on Thursday. It appears, if you're into this kind of thing, the thumbs up tally is working on YouTube, Coop. Did you fix it? Coop went in there.
My magic touch.
Activate. Thumbs up. It was the Cylons, I believe, were inhibiting the thumbs up button. You know what a Cylon is, Coop?
I'm going to say that's a Star Trek reference.
No. Oh, I think Guy Flaming just vomited. I think Guy Flaming is gagging at your response. You know what? Keep an eye on the Nasty Chat. The Nasty Chat will let you know where the Cylons are from. Now, I should say the Cylons were before your time, and then when they came back, you would have been really little, like probably 3 years old. So I forgive you for not knowing what the Cylons are from. Star Trek was a good guess. Better guess than Star Wars, I would say. Wouldn't you say, Guy? Like in terms of the themes of the three series that are now involved? Yeah.
I've only watched Star Wars out of any.
Keep an eye on the Nasty Chat. Somebody will let you know where the Cylons are from. And keep giving us the thumbs up. We're on a good pace today. If you click away, we should be able to get over 100 with it by the top of the hour. Let's get to 130 for word of the day. Coob has them ready. And hopefully we get to 155 for a double word of the day. All right, we'll continue talking about the Edmonton Oilers with my next guest. That is Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show. Great data, because there are a lot of people who are a lot smarter than me. And Guy gave me a little. It was kind of like getting a poke on Facebook, except he doesn't have a crush on me, and it was actually a DM on Twitter. And he's like, "Hey, Reid, remember how you talked about having me on your show?" And I was like, "Yes, I like you." And he's like, well, on Monday, we'll know the WHL playoff matchups. And I was like, okay, you got to come in. And he's like, yes, I will come in. And then we got massive. Well, I think it's massive because and I said this to Guy off air. And Guy said, Reid, my young friend. And he pulled up a little chair by the fire. It's kind of like those two chairs on Friendly Giant. and he said, Reid, sit down. This is not what you think it is. But I'm going to tell you what I thought it was, and Guy's going to tell you all why I was wrong when we get back.
The Lock Shop.
And by the way, speaking of futures, just while we have been...
You've heard the name, but what does it mean?
The Lock Shop.
And by the way, speaking of futures, just while we have been here, I could not help but notice a big-time move in the Hart Trophy lines. Have you seen this?
I'm not.
Hellebuck is now minus 175. McKinnon is plus 250, and Draisaitl is down to 4-1. If he is able to pull this down and win it, there's going to be some very, very happy WSTers.
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
Someday you'll be shedding your tears.
A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth, April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Play more tables and games.
Play more tables and games. Make the most of your fan game. Oh, you want to, you need to, you know just what you gotta do. It's time to add some fun to your life. Make the most of your fan game. Play more tables and games.
PlayMoreGames.ca.
All right, hope you're having a great Monday afternoon. Well, my phone says it's plus 12. What's it like outside?
It is nice. It's a little overcast and a little breezy, but other than that, temperature-wise,
that's good. Snow's disappearing.
Yeah. My drive in, I live out in Sturgeon County. Fields are bare.
Nice.
No snow.
Just where by my place, my complex, we just have to shovel the snow on a very thin strip of what is supposed to be grass in the summer, but it never grows. But we got to pile it up by like a no parking sign.
Okay.
And the sign's pretty much covered during the winter, but now it's about half visible. Hopefully that pile of snow takes a little longer to go down. It is Guy Flaming in studio, Reid Wilkins show without Jason Milne today. He's back on Thursday. Thanks for coming in, buddy. It's good to see you.
I'm the one that kind of invited myself, so thank you for letting me.
You didn't really do that because you were more just reminding me that I had been negligent in including you on the show as much as you should be. How long has the Pipeline Show been going now?
2006. February 6th of 2006. So this is season 20. This is 2 decades of.
So when you started it, were you like, okay, I'll do half a dozen episodes and see what happens? Or were you like, no, I got to do this forever?
Well, maybe not forever, but I mean, the idea was that there really was at that time not a whole lot of talk about prospects anywhere. Now there's a billion prospect podcasts. At that time, though, there wasn't. And there was an online magazine called Hockey's Future. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Yeah, vaguely.
But I was writing for that. And I think the Oilers, I might have been the first non-traditional media guy. Like they were pretty stingy about who gets press passes back then. And I got one through Hockey's Future. And it was like the year of the Heritage Classic and all of that. So it was pretty early on, and started doing radio and other guys started having me as guests on their show. And eventually I just thought, well, if there's this much interest in prospects, why don't I just do my own show?
Yeah.
And then so I approached Bryn Griffiths at the time as Team 1260 was just getting started. And he said it was a great idea. Who's going to host it? I'm like, kind of thought I would.
Wow.
You have like zero broadcasting experience. Why on earth would I give you a show? So he made me get a list of people that I could do a show with. And I had a list of one person, and Dean Millard was willing to do it. And that's we launched it in 2006.
Yeah, man, that's incredible, because to me, you've become, not that you're not an incredibly diverse and talented individual, but you're synonymous with that show, and you do a great job. I was listening to Wilms.
Bill Wilms.
And he's the Giants.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, like you just turn him on and away he goes. He was awesome. He was
the
awesome.
best guest.
Yeah.
I asked like 5 questions, but it's a 40-minute interview.
Well, how well does he know the league? Like top 0.0001% all
I think
time.
he told me he's like 82 years old, and I'm like, I thought he was 65.
Yeah.
But he's legit in his 80s. He's seen and done everything in this league. So from a broadcast perspective, yeah, he's got so many stories, so much background.
And then how have you always done color on the Oil Kings, or what's been the deal with that?
When it started, it was AJ Jakubek and Kent Simpson.
Oh, right.
And then AJ moved on, and Corey Graham took over the play-by-play duties, and Kent did it until I think it was around Christmas time in the 2013-14 season, and then he moved to Kelowna. And I was always kind of the fill-in guy.
Yeah.
Then they asked me if I wanted to do it full-time, and I was all over that. And that was a great year to start doing it full-time.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Jeez,
WHL
good
title,
timing.
out to London for the Memorial Cup that they won. Yeah.
No, do you do any road games, or what's the road game?
The only road games I do will be Red Deer, because I drive down for those myself.
Yeah.
Considering going to Prince Albert.
Well,
but
and that starts Friday. Okay, let's start there. That's a good segue.
Sure.
The playoffs are set.
Yep.
So I was looking at the standings, and the points, so it's a 2 against a 7 for seeding.
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody, and I know you can expand on this, that is misleading. In the Eastern Conference, this and the 4-5 series have the smallest points discrepancy between the two teams.
It was the parity in the Western Conference this year, really exciting. For me, parity is great because it keeps all the fan bases equally engaged. It went right down to the wire. Even the number 1 seed in the conference went down to the final game in the entire WHL calendar. Calgary and Medicine Hat played each other. They were tied going into that game. Medicine Hat ended up winning, so they're the number 1 seed. But for the Oil Kings, even like a month and a half ago, I was thinking the best spot for them might be to finish 7th.
Right.
Because Calgary, Medicine Hat, and Lethbridge all loaded up at the deadline to take a run at it this year. Whereas the number 2 seed will be the best team out of the East Division. But they're right even, basically, with the Oil Kings. So that was Prince Albert, Saskatoon, or Brandon. Any one of them would have been better than facing one of those other 3. So the fact that the Oil Kings get Prince Albert, it's okay.
So, and Luke Pierce, I believe, hit 100 wins as Oil Kings coach. So good for him, because obviously he came in when they were sort of starting over again. So there weren't a lot of wins.
He's probably the guy I feel best for.
Right.
Because he started in Kootenay with the Kootenay Ice in Cranbrook right after Ryan McGill left after winning a Memorial Cup or getting to a Memorial Cup. And then that team was the worst team in the league for 2 years with Luke Pierce as a head coach. And the same thing happens here. After the Oil Kings win in 2022, he takes over from Brad Lauer as head coach. Of course, the Oil Kings were the worst team in the league in 2023, and last year they didn't make the playoffs. So the fact that they're in the playoffs now with him as head coach, awesome for him.
All right. So who do you look at on the Oil Kings as 2 or 3 guys that are really sort of driving it right now and are going to be their leaders in the postseason?
No question, Grayson Sauchin is their most talented player. He is a thrill-a-minute player to watch. That old cliche of stick handling in a phone booth, he does it almost every shift where he is dangling around guys, driving to the net, making something happen. He's so creative. And his little brother Lucas is on the team. They're very much cut from the same cloth. Lucas is just 2 years younger. But if he's around for a couple more years, might be a very similar player. Adam Yako's been very good. Gavin Hodnett has been very, very, very good. Miroslav Holinka is a Toronto Maple Leafs draft pick. They have a lot of offensive weapons, and some of their more talented guys are even young guys. Caden Strader, who is like a 15, 16-year-old coming in, he's got a lot of skill. He was their first-round pick recently. There's a lot to like. Defensively, they're good. Goaltending has been great. I like this team.
What about PA? How dangerous are they?
PA's got a couple game breakers for sure. Tomas Mercic, he's also a St. Louis Blues prospect like Adam Yako is. He had 80-some points this year. I like Lukas Dragicevic on the back end. He's a really offensive-minded blue liner. He was drafted in the second round as well in 2023. They have a couple other guys who aren't drafted. Aiden Neuring is one of them. But I don't think their depth is as good as Edmonton's is. So when I put the two teams head-to-head, I actually think the Oil Kings are going to win this series.
Well, that'd be awesome
Yeah.
if they got into the second round. I want to get to the Western Hockey League expansion and some of the other stuff as we move along. But I know you put on Twitter that I appreciate that you made sure you watched the Oilers game on Saturday.
I did.
Since you're coming on. Okay, before I'm going to ask you a question about Nuge, because Nuge was in Red Deer during your obviously of doing the pipeline show.
Yep.
It's been a long time since he was a junior. Cam Moon always waxes poetic about his junior days. Like, how do you sort of? I'll put it. This kind of isn't a fair question, I think, because he's a grown man.
Yeah.
But Nugent Hopkins, the junior, the pro he was projected to be, and the pro he's become.
I think it's different.
Yeah.
Because you're a number one overall pick. I think you're expected to be like an offensive dynamo, and I think he's a much more well-rounded prospect than people expected that he would be, because he can play both ends. He can do everything you want in your lineup. He can be on your third line if you want him to be on your third line. So I think he's a different player. It wasn't a great draft class that year for him to be the first overall pick, but I don't think it was a mistake by any means. I mean, he's played a ton. He's a lifelong Oiler.
Yeah.
No, I think he's everything that Oiler fans should be pretty happy with getting. Might be a little different than what they expected in the long run, but not worth any less than what he's delivered. Interesting about Nugent Hopkins, because you call him Nuge. You know what his nickname was in Red Deer?
What?
Hoppy.
Oh, they call him Hoppy.
Hoppy.
Well, was he just Ryan Hopkins for a while?
I don't know when not in Red Deer. In Red Deer, he was always Nugent Hopkins.
Okay,
but before that, I'm not sure when the hyphenation came.
Well, you hear the players in the interviews calling him Nuggy. So because you see people posting pictures of chicken nuggets online and stuff like that after he does something. So your impressions then of the win over the Kraken, and again, you can't really talk about it without talking about who wasn't in the lineup.
Sure.
But what did you think?
I thought it was a good effort from a team that needed a team effort to get that. Like Nugent Hopkins with a hat trick. I don't know if anybody was expecting that, hoping for it. Like, okay, great, step up. Now it's your time. The team needs you. And he did. Like, that was awesome. I thought Zach Hyman was good. I thought Darnell Nurse was good. So I was pleased to see from an Oiler perspective that everybody kind of seemed to rally around the need to up their level.
Mex Bezzosa says the RNH player comparison during the draft, from what I remember, was Joe Sakic. And I think there were people comparing him to Joe Sakic.
I had Datsuk. I remember a lot of Pavel Datsuk.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yeah, which was setting the bar very, very high.
I both find those comparisons interesting and annoying.
Yes.
And like, you're 1,000 times more schooled on like junior hockey.
But it's always like a superstar that guys are getting compared to.
Well, that's the thing. And even on Draisaitl, he's going to be Kopitar. Well, okay, but what if he isn't? Like, he's not exactly Kopitar.
Sure.
Is he better than Kopitar? Probably overall, but is Kopitar outstanding? Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it doesn't demean one guy or the other if one guy turns out to be, I mean, I know there are some busts. Okay, Yakupov wasn't Mike Bossy or whoever, or Yari Curry or whoever, but for the most part, it's like, you're right. You're comparing a guy to a superstar. Oh, he's going to be Joe Sakic. What? So if he's Mark Recchi, he's a failure? Like,
right.
Whatever.
I think it's just it's almost like the general public doesn't have a feel for these young guys. So
right.
It's almost like an expectation from the audience, from the fan base, that they want to know who is this guy like. And so immediately you start to think of, and you're not thinking of some guy who's on a third line playing in Carolina. You're obviously thinking about the high end guys. So it's a bit of a trap, but it's almost like, well, the fans are demanding it, so you got to come up with something.
Yeah, and let's face. Well, okay, maybe you'll disagree with it, but I'll throw this out there. I always find that certainly once you're out of the top 10, and then sometimes some years maybe even out of the top 5, maybe you're not getting a top 3 forward, or a top pairing defenseman, but you're going to get an 800 to 1,000 game guy. Like look at even like Cogliano, right? Was a later first round pick, not by
25th.
Who did
Something
he?
like that?
Did we take him or did somebody else take him?
No, the Oilers
took him, and then he wound up. And wasn't like somebody like, didn't Boyd Gordon go like 11th overall or something like that?
Oh, there's you can come up with examples like that.
So Boyd Gordon went
pretty much from
17th.
Yeah.
Like he scored 56 goals in his career, but he played 706 games.
Yeah.
You know, like he was in the lineup.
He's a useful utility player.
Yeah, even in Edmonton later in his career, you know, on not very good teams, it was
Sure.
still like, I mean, they changed the face-off rule because of him.
Is that
You
right?
can't. I think it was because of Boyd. You can't win it with your hand anymore.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I
because
didn't know
remember
that.
he would kind of drop down and shield the puck with his stick while he was on his knees, and then take a handoff and swipe it back. And now that's a penalty.
The Boyd Gordon rule.
But you must have to deal with that world all the time, where somebody's like, "Hey, Guy, I saw this kid play a game. Boy, he looks like Guy Lafleur," and you're like, "Okay, that goal he looked like Guy Lafleur, but settled out."
And
right?
the first thing I say is, I'm not a scout. I watch a lot of junior and college hockey, but I think scouts get paid for their opinions, and I think they're very well versed, and they've been doing a lot longer than I've been watching games. So I'd always preface it by saying I'm not a scout. I have an opinion, but I make it clear that my assessment is probably not on par with NHL.
Well, no, but I think you have a pretty good sense, and I think you're a very realistic.
Hey, there's been lots of guys I thought were going to be stars. Like Kyle Beach is a guy I thought was going to dominate the NHL.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because he was a beast as a WHL player with the Everett Silvertips and with the Lethbridge Hurricanes. He was somewhere else as well. But I mean, he was big and strong and physical. He scored a Michigan wraparound goal against the Oil Kings, I believe, in Edmonton's first or second year. And I thought he was, well, I guess we can blame the Chicago Blackhawks for the way it kind of unfolded for him. But like Chris Russell's a great example. I was really high on Chris Russell as a junior with the Medicine Hat Tigers. He was the power play quarterback for Canada at the World Junior Championship. And I thought, all right, he's undersized. He's like 5'10" and 165 pounds, that, 150 pounds. But man, this guy can skate so well, and he's got such great vision. He's going to be his generation's Cale Makar. And he played a ton in the NHL. Not an offensive guy.
Right.
Who would have guessed that Chris Russell is going to be, isn't he like the all-time block shot leader?
Somebody might have passed him, but he was.
Like that,
yeah,
I would never have thought that. So I saw NHL caliber player in him as a junior, but not the style of player that he would become.
But I think that's a great point, and it's still an incredible career, obviously, just because you weren't a star. But I remember when I started working on Bob's show. And so, I'm getting to know that era of Oil Kings, and it was, Pesic and LB and all those guys. Yeah. And St. Croix was a Rangers draft pick.
Yeah.
And he was like a 45. I don't know if he got 50 in the dub, but he got a ton of goals.
He's their all-time leading scorer.
And I remember, but I hadn't been to a lot of Oil Kings games.
Right.
So I was talking to, and then, they had some, like almost half the team had been drafted from that Laxdal era, right? I think they had 8 or 9 guys drafted.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Dan Tenser because he was doing Inside Sports before I was doing it. And I said, St. Croix is a lock to make the NHL. And Dan's like, but all he does is score goals. And I was like, yeah, but that's important. He's like, just watch him. And then I realized, very good shooter, but he wasn't inside. Whereas Lazar, who maybe didn't score as much, was always in front of both nets, digging away. And that's the thing. When you get to the NHL, you got to play the inside game.
Absolutely. Right. And there's other Oil King examples. Griffin Reinhart is probably the best one, where he dominated the Western Hockey League and junior hockey in general that his last year, 2014, the year they won the Memorial Cup, he could do anything that he wanted to do on the ice. He would just manhandle guys.
Right.
But that did not translate to the next level at all.
Which is still kind of strange to me.
Absolutely
that he just
strange.
petered out like he did.
Yep.
Because as you said, manhandled. He wasn't a... he had to get into the guts. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Guy Flaming is here from the Pipeline Show. We're having a great chat. If you have any questions for Guy, text him 780-218-9999. That is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. You can post in the nasty chat as well. It looks like the thumbs up button is working.
Ooh.
We're just shy of 100, and we're not even halfway through the show. So let's hit 100, and then we can. So everybody click away. Then we can get into word of the day territory. We are going to talk. By the way, Battlestar Galactica had the Cylons coup.
Beers, Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
I don't know how old you are. I'm turning 54 this week. Are you?
I'm almost 51.
Okay, so you may barely remember the original Battlestar Galactica?
Yep. I remember watching it as a kid, like being excited when it was on, but probably not totally understanding it.
Right. Does not hold up now. If you watch it now, it's god awful.
Oh, it probably is.
But the reboot in the early 2000s, fantastic.
Well done. Was it Lauren Green that was a Dom on the original one?
Yeah.
Richard Hatch. No,
Dirk Benedict.
Dirk Benedict was Starbuck. That's all I remember.
And is it Richard Hatch or Kevin Hatch?
What did I say? It was
you said
something
Richard. I think Richard Hatch won the Survivor the first year.
Oh,
of
I'm
Survivor.
sorry. I got the wrong name. Okay, but the last name was Hatch of the guy that played Apollo. Wow.
Yeah.
This is why we have you on.
I always telling people this. Like I've met you a couple of times. I've been on your previous shows a couple of times. But I don't really know you that well. But as you said, as I was driving in, I heard you. We started to get to know each other a little bit. I really think that you and I would be friends. Like I think we have a lot of things in common. You called me a bigger nerd than you, and maybe that might be accurate. But
you're
nerds.
more knowledgeable than me. I think we'll talk about your Star Trek thing. The text, the message you sent me as well. By the way, Guy is our Voices of the Game segment for Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated since 1993. We're more than just plywood. We offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. With a huge selection of hardwoods and knowledgeable staff, we're here for all your DIY needs. Windsor Plywood Leduc, the experts you need to know. We're going to talk about Western Hockey League expansion, and Guy is going to correct my thinking when we get back.
According to Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, both Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid will miss the next 2 games, with Knobloch saying, quote, they are still going to be out a while. In Vancouver, Canucks general manager Patrick Elvine has announced that Thatcher Demko has been activated off the injured reserve after he's been out since early February due to a lower body injury for Winnipeg. Gabe Vilardi's playoff status is up in the air. He's been deemed week to week with an upper body injury he suffered yesterday against the Sabres. And on tap tonight, Vancouver goes head-to-head against New Jersey. The Islanders and Blue Jackets drop the puck, while Dallas hosts Minnesota. And the Hockey Club and Red Wings duke it out in Salt Lake City. In basketball action sees Toronto visit Washington with the Raptors playing without RJ Barrett and Grady Dick as he continues to recover from a bone bruise on his right knee. Both Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl slot back in against the Wizards, and Anthony Davis gets welcomed back to Dallas as he returns to action against the Nets. And around the league, the Chicago meets Denver, the Mavs and Nets have a date, while the Bucks challenge the Suns and the Mavericks. Welcome back, Anthony Davis in their game against the Nets. The sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. Get treated like a pro with their highly skilled crew. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance your performance, get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Visit their website at AdvantageSportMed.ca. More with Guy Flaming in studio with Reid Wilkins on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish for your sports update.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
It's time for a wing throwdown at the Canadian Brewhouse. Fuego Verde versus Honey Blaze. Who's got the best flavor? Come taste the heat and get your wing fix anytime. Plus 69-cent wings all day Wednesdays. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Join our very own Dustin Nielsen, Trey and Terrell Ford of the Edmonton Elks, and other special guests on Tuesday, April 8th at the Bell in Scona for Edmonton Sports Talk's Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction. A special live on-location show featuring a delicious appetizer buffet, silent auction, 50-50, and more. This year, Kids Sport is proudly celebrating 30 years of making a positive impact in our community. Don't miss out and join this special celebration to help continue to support those in need. Tickets are limited. Find them today at kidsportbidsforkids.com. That's kidsportbidsforkids.com.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth. April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Tommy Gunn's Barbershop is more than just a barbershop. It's a top-notch, tailor-made experience from check-in to check-out. Get a precision haircut, a classic shave, or a facial to step up your style. Just walk in, relax, and let Tommy Guns take it from there. Find comfort in knowing their team follows the code, which is their commitment to care for you as a customer. Check out Tommy Guns today, in-store or online at TommyGuns.com to bring out the best in you. Tommy Guns, where every cut is done right every time.
All right, Oilers practice this morning. Just got the notification the Oilers will actually take tomorrow off, so then I would expect a full morning skate on Wednesday. Well, maybe it won't be, actually, because they're playing back-to-back. I don't know if they do an optional morning skate, though, after a day off. But the time of year in which they will perhaps not practice as often or as enthusiastically, not enthusiastically, as ruggedly as they would have earlier in the year.
Lots
with the
of maintenance days this time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I said, I don't know if you heard me off the top of the show, and I hope people understand this is not a knock on the guy. Like, I wonder if Matthias Ekholm practices again this season.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't skate today. I bet you he has several maintenance days, just what he's been through this year. Obviously, he was ill, lower body injury that kept him out for those half dozen games or whatever. Right. Evander Kane took his spot on the blue line today as a placeholder. But, you know, sometimes it just reaches a point with a guy where they just don't really practice. It's just they save it all for the games.
Yeah, I guess, and for a veteran like that, I guess you can kind of slide by as well, because you have some faith that he's going to find his game.
You don't question his effort or preparation.
Right.
And I found that out. I mean, I didn't get to cover playoffs until 2017. Which I think was whatever year. And it was like, most of the practices were sparsely attended.
Oh, okay.
You know, it would be like the 8 guys, like 4 black aces and the 4 guys who played 4 minutes in the previous game.
In the playoffs.
Even in the playoffs, there weren't tons of full practices. Anyway, Guy Flaming is here from the Pipeline Show, a friend of EST. He won an Esty for that.
I did.
You got to speak and everything.
I was driving in and I heard you guys talking about that, and I was like, I should have brought it.
Should have put it right there.
Put it right there. Yeah.
So we got a question on the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox, 780-218-9999 for you. Ooh. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. So, Abuski says, do you remember Kendall McCardle from Moose Jaw, another WHL beast who barely made a ripple in the NHL?
Yeah, Florida Panthers, I believe, drafted Kendall McCardle. I think he also played in Vancouver, if I remember correctly.
I'll check him quickly. You got a good memory.
He started in Moose Jaw and went to Vancouver the other way around. I forget.
I do remember Kendall McCardle. I actually interviewed him for the Hockey News, the print edition of the Hockey News way back when. No way. I had 2 articles that appeared in the Hockey News, which to see your name in the byline for the Hockey News, it's actually kind of cool if you've never done it before. And one of them was a Kendall McCardle interview, because I was talking to him about not just like racism, because he's not a white guy, but also he had a speech impediment and was very apprehensive to do interviews and things like that to talk about. He said, racism, I don't hear about a whole lot on the ice. He doesn't experience it, but it was guys mocking his stutter. No way. Yeah. Jeez. So he was Moose Jaw, then traded to Vancouver in 06-07, and didn't they win? Yeah,
the Memorial. Is that the year they hosted and won, or am I off by a year?
I think they. Yeah, I think they did. It was
he played 22 playoff games, so he was 20th overall in 05.
I think they played against Medicine Hat in the WHL final, and one of them won that. And then they both go to the Memorial Cup, and I believe the other won the Memorial Cup. And I honestly, I can't remember
Medicine Hat won the dub, because was MacArthur still on that team? Because I used to talk to Clark all the time because he was from Lloyd.
Okay, yeah, anyway, that's about
during that era.
Yeah.
Then he played 42 NHL games and scored 1 goal.
Florida,
and then a few games with Winnipeg. That's a good point. Like he had.
Yeah.
Here's one of his seasons in the dub for Moose Jaw, 72 games, 71 points, 135 penalty minutes.
Yeah.
That is beast status, as
Big
the texter said.
I think, did he play with Kyle Brodziak or right after Kyle Brodziak when he was in Moose Jaw?
Oh,
somewhere
that's
in
a
there.
Good question, yeah.
But McCardle, I think his issue was mobility. He was big and strong, but maybe not up to NHL foot speed.
Right. And that's the thing, right? There's that fine line.
Yep.
He might be just a little younger than Brodziak.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, his first full season in Moose Jaw, Brodziak was the team scoring leader with 93 points in 70 games. Johnny Boychuk, Dustin Boyd, Troy Brower, Lundmark, Jason Lundmark.
Okay.
Lane Manson, remember him?
Defenseman?
Yeah. Because not Josh, but they were brothers, weren't they?
Maybe.
Or is it the wrong family? Somebody will tell me. Oh, Mike Brodeur was the goalie. Wasn't that the Camrose guy?
No, that name doesn't ring a bell.
Because I covered the AJ.
Okay.
Some of the old AJ guys all remember the names. Some guys, because Mike Brodeur got into 7 games with the Senators. Anyway, where were we going, Guy? What are we talking about?
You wanted to talk about expansion.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I said to you off air. Because I got to find the announcement page here. So Penticton is getting a WHL team immediately.
They're basically taking the Penticton Vs out of the BCHL, same ownership, same GM, same coach, and just promoting them to the Western Hockey League. But their roster will be completely different, because the roster right now has a lot of guys from Ontario or Quebec or in the States that are outside of the WHL's market. So those guys can't play for the Vs in the WHL. And anybody that they have on their current roster whose rights are held, CHL rights are held by a WHL team, they're going to have to figure out, they're probably, they go back to the other WHL team, but I believe the Vs will have the ability to negotiate. Can we get him back? Can we, what can we give you to keep his rights? That might only be like 5 or 6 guys, though.
Okay, so then Chilliwack.
The year after.
But they don't have an ownership. They just said, we want to put a team in Chilliwack.
Yeah.
It's sort of like going on a dating site.
Yeah.
That's what the WHL is still. They're doing Hinge for WHL.
I think they're coordinating it with the city in Chilliwack so that they make sure they get the facility and all of that. So they're doing it well in advance. So they're soliciting ownership groups that have an interest. Let them know.
So what I said to you off air was, I said, well, here we go. Further watering down the league.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah. Okay, so you got the Penticton Vs. That's going to be 25 guys. And then eventually the Chilliwack, whatever, if they're going to be the Bruins again or Chilliwack Coconuts, that will be another 25 guys. So you're adding 50 players.
Where are those 50 players going to come from?
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's panic time. The NCAA has opened up to every player in North America that they can play in the CHL and then go to the NCAA.
Right.
So now your player pool that you're drawing from has just grown exponentially. You've got all of these guys who are going to the USHL because they want to maintain their NCAA rights. So they go there, which isn't as good a league as the Western Hockey League. I will fist fight somebody who has the argument that the USHL is as good as the WHL.
Yeah, I hear you, yeah.
So now all of those guys will consider the Western Hockey League first. Plus, all these guys, listen, you're an AJHL guy. Remember Joe Colburn?
Yes.
Remember Mike Connolly? Those guys destroyed the AJHL as members of the Camrose Kodiaks, went on and had NCAA success. Well, guys like that now will be coming to the Western Hockey League. Can you find 50 players out of California, Minnesota, Texas, Colorado? Now with the growth of hockey in the Pacific Northwest, that's going to be a booming area. Arizona, and all the Western Canadians who are going to go the college route. Can you not find 50 good players?
So, okay, I have two names coming to mind. Cale Makar went to Brooks because he wanted to keep NCAA options open.
Right.
Now he would just go to the dub.
Yep.
And did not one of the Savoys do that?
Yeah, Carter Savoy.
Carter, the one the Oilers
Denver.
had for 100th overall. He would have been a WHL player.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now what I'm worried about...
And it's not a given. Like some guys, they just want to play for North Dakota. Or they grew up, you know, he's a guy in Winnipeg. Maybe he sees a lot of North Dakota Fighting Sioux or Fighting Hawks games on TV there and wants to go and experience that. Or Boston College or Michigan and play for the Wolverines. Fine. But more often than not, guys are going to play in the best league available to them at that time, and that's going to be the dub.
Okay, so that's interesting, an interesting perspective there. So then what I worry about is, and I don't know how much is out there. We've speculated on it, but apparently the Golden Bears are going to lose 7 players, and a lot of them are going to Omaha, Nebraska. At least 7 players.
Yep.
I don't know if it's official yet or not. I don't know if they're going to eagerly put out a press release that some of their leading scorers from last season are leaving, and best defenseman and goaltender, apparently. So now I guess you could say, well, it's all going to be relative, Reid, is that if everybody loses some guys, they'll still be competitive with each other. But it seems to me, like I've heard the Bears and Mount Royal, who 5 overtime game, the quarterfinals at Nationals, like that they stand to suffer because they're going to have guys who are going to go to the NCAA.
I would agree. I think that's the level of hockey that's probably going to be hurt the most or impacted the most. We'll see. This is all probably going to play out over the next 24 months. We're only like 5 months into this change with the NCAA, so things are still trying to figure themselves out. But I think U Sports will be affected the most, especially early on. Like for next season, we'll see what the Golden Bears look like and what the other teams in Canada West look like and across the country. But yeah, I think if they've also changed the ruling though that you can play pro for longer, and then go back
and not
right?
lose any U Sports eligibility.
Right.
Yes.
So maybe is that an offset? Does that offset anything?
So does U Sports get even older? Maybe. Jodes in the nasty chat. Isn't Brooks pushing for a Western Hockey League team as well?
I haven't heard that they're doing that. It's not a big market, 15,000 people. It would be the smallest market. I mean, it's smaller than Swift Current, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're building, I'm not sure how many they hold, 2,000, 2,500?
Wouldn't be that much. Yeah.
That would also be very small. That's been obviously a dominant franchise in junior A hockey, mostly in the AJHL for the last number of years. I'm really going to be interested to see how Penticton fares because it's a completely different beast. Mm-hmm. You're not recruiting from across Canada now in the Western Hockey League. You got drafts to go through. You got listed players with other teams. It's going to be a challenge.
They got a heck of a rink there, though.
Okay, great.
But I'm just saying.
But still, they're not just going to be able to. I mean, they have a great track record of pushing guys to college. Now you're trying to recruit guys to play in the Western Hockey League.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Okay.
I think Fred Harbison's a great coach, though. And, I wish them the best of luck. But
So it's
I don't
be the
expect
same
them.
ownership and management and coaching.
Yeah, I think there might be some parts of the ownership that's different. Like Mike Richter is part of it now, and somebody else as well that I don't think were part of it.
Okay.
Previously, but yeah, I think I think it would be crazy to expect that they're going to be a dominant team right out of the gate.
Okay, and then Chilliwack, was this like the third time they'd be going to Chilliwack?
I think just the second.
Just the second? Okay, sorry.
They had the Chilliwack Bruins.
Oh, the
and
Chiefs are in the BC.
That's the BCHL team. The Bruins moved to Victoria, and they're the Royals now.
Right. Okay, and they were the New Westminster Bruins before that at some point, weren't they?
No, I thought Chilliwack. This is before the Oil Kings came back into the league. So it's
a lot
before
of
my time with the Pipeline Show even.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they were an expansion franchise or a relocation.
What are the two other franchises that used to be in Edmonton?
The Edmonton Ice.
Wild.
And the Portland Winterhawks.
Right. Were the original Oil Kings.
Yeah.
And then the Wenatchee Wild. That was Edmonton Ice.
The Edmonton Ice went to Cranbrook and were the Kootenay Ice to Winnipeg Ice, and now Wenatchee Wild.
You got to love the franchise history in that league. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Guy Flaming is with us. He's sticking around for one more segment. We'll probably talk about our shared love of science fiction.
Sure.
If you have any, that was a good question for Guy that came in on the text line. So anything else for Guy, send it in pronto. Keep giving us the thumbs up in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. We are over 100, so now let's push to 130 because Coob has, I'm sure, a very diabolical word of the day. Here he comes with a sports update.
According to Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, Liam Draisaitl and Connor McDavid will miss the next two games. McDavid exited last week's game against the Jets in the second period with an upper body injury, while Draisaitl sat out the past two games with an undisclosed injury. And there's 4 games going down tonight. The Wild battle the Stars, the Devils and Canucks drop the puck. Long Island hosts Columbus, while the Red Wings face the Hockey Club. And for the Raptors, Emmanuel Quickly and Jakob Poeltl return to take on the Wizards. Grady Dick remains out as he recovers from a bone bruise on his right knee, while RJ Barrett will not play. Elsewhere, the Celtics meet the Kings. Milwaukee hits the court in Phoenix, while Anthony Davis makes his return for the Mavericks against the Nets. And former UFC champion Cain Velasquez has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for a shooting incident that took place in early 2022. He pleaded no contest to felony attempted murder, assault, and weapons charges. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc, locally owned and operated since 1993. They're more than just plywood. They offer everything from doors and flooring to decking, fencing, and custom millwork. Windsor Plywood Leduc, they're the experts you need to know. More with Guy Flaming and Reid Wilkins on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
Take your career to the next level with Nate's Construction Leadership and Supervision Program, a perfect tool for professionals looking to advance their role or an organization needing to develop leaders. Learn more about safety supervision, scheduling, cost control, and most importantly, how to lead a team. For more information and to register, visit nate.ca/CLSP to take your career to another level.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
All right, it's 4:45. Thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon, along with Guy Flaming. I am Reid Wilkins. Guy joining me here for an hour, talking Oilers, talking Western Hockey League, talking, well, we'll see what we talk about in the next 15 minutes. The Canadian Brewhouse Studio. UFC 314 going down at the Canadian Brewhouse. It's coming up April 12th. Catch the action on the most TVs with epic food and drinks. Don't miss it. Our house is your house. Where is that one, Coop?
Let me check here. That one, they always got good events, good places.
What number was it that was here? Was that a numbered UFC?
That was not a number. That was a fight night.
So where's UFC 314? Do you know?
UFC 314. Most of them are.
We've had a numbered one here though, haven't we?
Yeah, like a few years back. Yeah, it was a Max Holloway fight. It's in Miami.
And then Max Holloway went to St. Louis, right?
That's
good. That's fine.
He was offer sheeted. Yeah.
Yeah, they offer sheet him to do the next UFC. In Castor 1990, according to Wiki, the new Westminster Bruins became the Tri-City Americans. Okay. Then he says Chilliwack was granted a franchise in 2005, which became the Bruins. The team moved to Victoria, and now they're the Royals. Right. Okay.
So it was
Because
expensive.
some teams moved like the Ice and kept the team name.
Yep.
And then other teams moved and changed names, and then another city got.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you were mentioning off air, Tacoma. They had the Tacoma Rockets moved to Kelowna. They're still the Rockets.
Right.
They have an Ogopogo.
But they have the Sea Beast as their logo.
You're like, what the heck is kind of a rocket is that? But yeah.
Well, it swims really fast. That's why no one can take a picture of it. All right. Oilers practice today. No. Here's what Chris Knobloch said, by the way, when asked, could we see McDavid or Draisaitl this week?
Connor not. Leon's still not. He's not day to day yet, so they're going to be still a while. So we'll be playing a couple of games without him at least. So it's good for those other guys that they know that they're going to get some more playing time.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Nuge is making the most of it, which is good. Actually, I thought it was a pretty good team game. They didn't. I really thought. I said this earlier, Guy. If they played in a straight line and didn't fool around at the blue line, it was pretty good.
From what I saw, now I'll be honest, because there was so much up for grabs for the Oil Kings. I was watching Saskatoon and Prince Albert play because whoever won that game,
it was like a crazy weekend at the Dub, eh?
So I was watching that, and then I would switch back to the other game, and then I'd watch for a while, and then I figured out Western Michigan and Denver were also, they went to double overtime in the NCHC finals. Now, this is the Pipeline Show part of me that's like, okay, I got to watch that as well. So I was flipping back and forth.
Okay, so where are they in the NCAA?
The national bracket is coming out. It is out now, and that starts. The national tournament starts on.
And they have a 16?
16 teams, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it all single elimination?
Are we doing
now?
a fired up segment? Because I'm going to get fired up.
Yes. Oh, well, I see. You came. I love when you came prepared. I don't know if you saw when Justin Lawrence came a couple months ago, the Alouettes lineman. And I was like, okay, so on Instagram every day I do some sort of a dunk. He's like, yeah, I got an idea. I was like, wow.
Look at that.
Guy's about to get fired up for Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years. The authorized dealer for Napoleon Fireplaces. Whether it's gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need available at Gemco 9281 50th Street.
We make so much about March Madness, college basketball. It's huge, right? It's obviously it's very entertaining. The whole pageantry of it and the unpredictability of it. Try to make predictions with the bracket. It's a giant bracket. All of that's very exciting. It's stupid that it starts in the middle of March and goes to the middle of April. Why don't they call it Marple Madness instead of March Madness? But why do we not care about the national championship tournament for college hockey? Well, this is a hockey nation. 30% of the NHL is made up of college players. 30% of college rosters are Canadian. A lot of players that we know from their time in the AJHL or other leagues around here, and maybe even more moving forward, former WHL guys will be playing college hockey. Why do we not give the Frozen Four and the tournament leading up to the Frozen Four nearly as much attention?
I don't know.
Well,
probably because we get all the NCAA basketball stuff from American television.
Yeah.
And they don't carry the ice hockey.
You can watch the games online. There are ways to watch.
CBS or TNT or whoever doesn't care.
Sure, but TSN, I think it's like
TSN should pick up. They were showing the Bean Pot.
What is it like? Yeah. What is it? TSN Plus or whatever?
There's 5 channels. Okay, so St. Louis has the Frozen Four.
Yep.
So, okay, how do they do these rounds, though? Are they in neutral sites or do the teams actually host?
4 regionals
are in neutral sites as well?
Sites. I think there's a lot of talk about doing away with that because they're not very well attended because the fan bases aren't there.
Right.
They have to. All the fans have to travel to those games, and if you're going halfway across the country, you're not going to draw very well. So they're talking about putting them back into campus sites, which to me makes a lot of sense.
A ton of sense. So they don't seed all 16 teams. They only seed the top 4.
Nope. It's 1 through 16
because I'm on their printable bracket.
But they go. So you got 4 regionals of 4 teams, and inside those it'll be 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3.
Oh, they just didn't put them all here.
But
they
overall,
put it at the bottom of the page.
It'll be the 1 versus 16. 1, I think, is
so they're in
Boston
Toledo,
College.
Allentown, Fargo, and Manchester, New Hampshire.
That's right.
I have, as people know, I care about U Sports hockey a lot, though I didn't watch the Nationals this weekend because the Bears were out, so I watched other stuff. But Ottawa won, the number 8 seed to the
first
host.
time ever, right?
And they actually had a good team.
Yeah.
But they knocked off UNB that had lost 1 game all year.
Amazing.
And Sask got upset as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the 8 against the 4 in the final or the 8 against the 3. It might have been the 8 against the 3.
Wasn't it like, who was the runner-up? Carleton? Concordia?
Was it Concordia?
Yeah, I think you're right,
Carleton?
Concordia. But like 2 teams no UNB, no Alberta, no Saskatchewan. Like some of the perennial favorites weren't there at the end.
See, I'm glad that U Sports went to this Final 8 format instead of the 2 pools of 3. I used to push for that on Insights. Yeah, it was Ottawa over Concordia. So, but I think, you got Canada West, you got Ontario, you got Quebec, and you got the Maritimes.
Yeah.
Have a league champion, and then do like they do in U Sports football. You rotate who hosts who. So 1 year it'd be Canada West at Atlantic, and it'd be a best of 3 in that building. And then you have the 2 winners play off, and you rotate who hosts. Like, could you imagine the national championship best of 3 series at Claire Drake Arena on like a Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday?
Would they move it to the NHL barn?
Well, I don't think OEG's still. The owner of the Edmonton Oilers isn't overly fond of the U of A at the moment.
Oh, is that right?
Well, that's why the rookie game is gone because Cates was upset.
Really?
Because there was a book written about the arena deal and I think some funding issues and stuff like that. But anyway, here's the thing about U Sports. People say, well, I don't care about the teams except my own team. Then fine, don't have the... I agree. If it was UNB against U of A, maybe nobody cares outside of New Brunswick and within an hour of Edmonton. Right. So just have the game, just have a series in one of those 2 cities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. U Sport is so underrated as a level of hockey. I wish it got scouted more because I think there are players that can come out of that and play in the American League and maybe beyond.
Right.
And I don't know. I am concerned to see how all these changes with the NCAA do affect U Sports moving forward.
I'm worried about that too. And maybe, I guess as long as the Bears still get good players.
Mm-hmm.
But, so what if Trinity Western gets even worse? Like, are the games 11-0 instead of 4-1? Yeah, I guess might be a concern. That sounds really like an Edmonton guy who loves the U of A being a little arrogant. But And don't get me started on Canada West basketball. All right.
Okay.
Before I let you go, so you sent me. I guess we won't have time for this, but you like.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you like Star Trek.
I like it all. I like Star Trek. I like Battlestar Galactica. I'm a Star Wars guy. Aliens, Terminator. Those are all right in my wheelhouse.
Okay,
all
so
the Marvel stuff.
Oh yeah, I like the Marvel stuff too.
Yeah,
most of it.
Yeah.
Since Endgame, it's not as good.
I agree. Unfortunate.
Do you read comics too?
I used to. I haven't bought a comic in 20 years.
I started reading Amazing Spider-Man again about 7 years ago, and I'm glad I did. It's not always good.
The problem with if I did that, then I would find myself going to back issue stores and trying to load up, and I'd be spending a fortune.
Well, and here's the thing that they're good at. Oh, here's a crossover event.
Oh, I know.
Oh, this story continues in the Hulk number 14. I resist doing that for the most part. All right, so Guy sends me this message. Random game. Using previous series, create an all Star Trek crew. Captain, science officer, engineer, tactical, pilot, communications, doctor, and a random crew person. So I don't know this.
All right, so what I'm talking about is for the captain.
Picard.
So you got Captain Kirk,
Picard.
or Captain Picard, or Captain Janeway, or Captain, what was the...
Captain Burnham.
Right.
Captain
Archer.
Pike. Oh, Archer.
Captain
Pike.
Archer. So like of all of those, you're going to make it like an all-star team crew.
Picard.
So you would take Picard.
Of course. Well, and
what about Cisco? Cisco was
I didn't watch enough.
Deep Space Nine?
I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. I didn't watch Voyager. I'm watching Strange New Worlds. I watched all of Discovery.
Strange New Worlds is good.
Well, season 2 was... Did you like season 2?
It was
hit and miss. Like the musical episode?
You're right.
Okay, so let's hear yours then. Because you've watched it all. You've watched it all.
When I sent this to you, I thought we would kind of open it up and we'd get all
we don't have time.
I know, that's why I didn't plan now. I would probably go Picard as well. I think he was the best captain.
Okay, so science officer, we don't have to pick, but that's like Spock.
Is Data who's
the science officer on Next Gen?
It would have to be Data, wouldn't it?
I guess. Well, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
And Spock's the science officer also on Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Okay, and then engineer, so that'd be Geordi or Scotty, or
the Irish fella,
or the guy who could do the jump with the stuff in his veins.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
In Strange New Worlds,
that's Discovery, isn't it?
Or in Discovery, yeah. Tactical, so that's Worf, for example.
Yeah.
Who was tactical on the original series?
Chekhov.
Oh, okay. And then the pilot,
Pavel Chekhov.
So who was
pilot? It was Sulu.
Oh, Sulu was the pilot. Then who was the pilot on Next Generation? Ensign Rowe?
Wesley did it for a little while, and because they had engineering kind of on the bridge as well. Like Geordi LaForge was up there for a while, and Data also did that.
Right.
It was like the multitasking crew.
And then communication. So Uhura, and
who else did it? That's a good one.
When she's also in Strange New Worlds, right?
That's right. She's almost by default getting it.
So doctor, they always have a doctor.
Yeah. So you had the hologram doctor in Voyager.
Oh, he was a hologram?
Yeah. The emergency medical whatever.
I like
EMH.
the doctor in
emergency medical
Strange New
hologram.
Worlds that has his daughter. He keeps his daughter in the transporter or whatever, so
It's
she
like
doesn't
Jamaican?
die. Yeah. They've had some good story. And he had like some military past. And he was like an assassin or something like that. Yeah.
Dark.
And then random, I assume you mean this is the
Well, you've got like
O'Brien.
Odo and all the weird ones that like the Neelix from Voyager and just they're
I
not
don't even
really-
know all these people. This is great.
You're
I gotta
lying.
start-
You're
no,
just
I
saying that.
seriously don't. I don't know Voyager pretty much at all.
Okay.
I
Tom
might
Paris
be able
was
to pick
the-
out.
They had a
Oh,
Klingon hybrid human Klingon engineer female. I forget what her name. Balana Torres. That was her name.
Okay.
And Chakotay was like the second in command guy. Like the Riker. Oh, he didn't even include a number one.
Oh yeah, you didn't put a number one.
Gee. Well, it'd have to be Riker.
It'd have to be
wouldn't it?
Riker. The Picard Riker combo right at the top.
Yeah.
Keeping them all in line.
Yeah.
All right. What's coming up on the next Pipeline show?
Oh, it's CHL playoff previews, and I did a OHL preview today that I recorded with Terry Doyle, is the voice of the Sarnia Sting. Tomorrow, I'm having conversations with Troy Gillard, voice of the Red Deer Rebels, as well as John Keane of the Kamloops Blazers. We'll be chatting with a guy out in the Q as well about the Q playoffs, and we'll be setting up the NCAA national tournament as well. So it's going to be an
and you're on
big show.
You're on our station after
Hello Hockey. It fluctuates sometimes because the Oilers.
Oh, right.
They might have an afternoon game, and pre and post kind of comes in. So I get bumped around a little bit, which is understandable. But usually right after Hello Hockey on Saturdays, and I think it's after MCTV on Monday nights.
And I was listening earlier today to your last episode just on iHeart, which is where you can get Edmonton Sports Talk as well. Guy, you're an absolute gentleman for coming in. This was a blast. The Pipeline Show, 20 seasons. That's amazing stuff.
I'm old.
So congratulations on doing that. You're not old. You're well-seasoned and wise. Somebody just put in the nasty chat, who's the new guy? He's not new.
No.
He's been around.
I wish I'd met
Jason's
Jay.
not here today, so Guy came in for an hour, and
I wanted
joked
to
around.
compliment Jay because as a guy who was not a broadcaster and taken over he's a natural. You guys have great chemistry. This is a fantastic show to tune into at any time. You guys do a great job, and I wish Jay was here that I could say that to him as well.
You're very kind. Thanks for coming in. We'll
Pleasure.
talk throughout the Western Hockey League playoffs because there'll be a lot of storylines for
Anytime.
sure. All right, that's Guy. Here comes the Coop.
The EST Hangout.
It's the 2028 Olympics. It's on my board in my office.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark.
The EST Hangout.
It's the 2028 Olympics. It's on my board in my office. And you're just mocking it right now.
I did not know that, but I love it.
2026 World Cup, 2028 Olympics.
Manifest.
That's all it says, but I know what it means. And then after we'll go to an event. Maybe one day beach volleyball and then some swimming. Maybe one day we'll go to watch surfing. Brendan, you're not coming now. Mocking us. Just so cruel.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
UFC 314 goes down at the Canadian Brewhouse on April 12th. Watch every knockout on the most TVs with epic food and drinks in the best atmosphere. Don't miss the action. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will miss at least a couple more games, according to Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, who spoke to the media this morning. Connor McDavid left the game last week against the Jets during the second period with a lower body injury, while Leon Draisaitl missed the past 2 games. 4 games around the NHL, Thatcher Demko takes the crease for Vancouver for the first time since early February. He's been out since then with a lower body injury of his own, and they hit the ice in New Jersey. Then after that, the Red Wings take on the Hockey Club. The Wild have puck drop with the Stars, while the Blue Jackets face the Islanders. And 3 games are about to get underway in the NBA. The Raptors battle the Wizards as Toronto hits the court without RJ Barrett and Grady Dick, who continues to rest a bone bruise on his right knee, while Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Poeltl will both play for the Raps. Elsewhere, it's the Lakers clashing with the Magic and the Timberwolves tipping off with the Pacers. Later, we also see the Mavs welcome back Anthony Davis to take on the Nets. I'm Zachary Kubich. That was your sports update. The third and final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
right, thanks for tuning in this afternoon. 4 minutes after 5, Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. What a pleasure it is to work here. Jason Milne is off today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Guy Flaming just stepped in for the last hour, host of the long-running and very successful and very excellent Pipeline show. Zachary Kubish is here as well. Kub, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
We had a malfunction earlier. We don't know how. It wasn't our malfunction. The YouTube thumbs up button was malfunctioning. We were at 3 for about an hour, and then all of a sudden it jumped up to like 80. So now we need a dozen thumbs to get to word of the day territory. So don't delay. Click, click, click. Oh, I better play the song for people. That way they know.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
Make it so, number one.
That's Picard. So, Koob, you have learned today that Cylons were in Battlestar Galactica.
Cylons are, yes.
Massive learning moment for you. Your life is now richer. You have been enriched.
Enriched? Ooh. I know a lot more than I did before the show.
Oh, Papa Homer, you are so learned.
Learned, son. It's pronounced learned.
All right, so McDavid and Draisaitl not expected to play this week. So that is Wednesday's game against Dallas, 8 o'clock game at Rogers Place, in Seattle on Thursday, and then home to the Calgary Flames on Saturday. By the way, I was mentioning earlier for Crunch the Numbers for Gallo LLP, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 3 points in 3 of his last 4 games. He now has 49 3-point games in his career. He has the 3 this season. First time he's had 3 points in a game since April 6th of 2024. We had a goal and 2 assists in a game in Calgary. The Oilers, in terms of the playoffs, well, they're going to make the playoffs, barring basically if they didn't win a game the rest of the way. Their magic number to clinch a wild card spot is 7. And their magic number to... that can't be right now that I'm thinking about it. I got to relook at that because I have their magic number to clinch second in the division as 12, but that can't be right. It would have to be more than that. Anyway, the Oilers closing in on a playoff spot, which they, well, if things go well, they could do it by the end of the week. But anyway, team playing well. And other players getting opportunities, not just Nugent-Hopkins, but other players as well. And Knobloch says, okay, we don't have McDavid and Draisaitl. Maybe that helps us in the long run.
We hope in the long run this is good for us. Or losing, Connor and Leon, do we ever want them out of the lineup? No. Probably the short term, it's harder for us to win games and move up in the standings, and we want to win as many games as possible. But, for collectively our team, we want to be at our best for the playoffs. That's the most important thing. And this little break without having those two, maybe that helps us. Other guys find their game and they're able to step it up. And because we need them more. They're playing more. Their guys are on the power play, last minutes, whether it's up or down a goal. So, hopefully they can build a little confidence and feel good about it.
All right. There is a website, playoffstatus.com. They give the Oilers a 13% chance to finish first in the division. That's more than I would give them. 32% second, 52% third. So they give the Kings advantage. And then, basically 1% that the Oilers wouldn't make the playoffs, 1 or 2% that they wind up as a wildcard team. So third place, their most likely playoff position, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. 780-218-9999, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant. All you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday from 4 to 10 p.m. You can email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And of course, if you want to chat, don't worry so much about me in the nasty chat. Chat with each other as well. That is the chat on YouTube. And it's not really that nasty, so don't be afraid. Jump in there and have a conversation. Just be nice. Just be nice about it. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins commenting on the absence of McDavid and Draisaitl.
I think everybody feels it. It's a chance for everybody to kind of step up and play their game and maybe play a little bit of a different role for certain guys. But I mean, obviously, you lose two of the best players in the game. We need to step up and we need to make sure that we're sharp. And I think the way that we've been playing lately is starting to get to the way that we want to play come playoff time is making it tough to play against, not giving anything easy to the other team, and building our offense from playing solid defensively.
All right. So, yeah, I think pretty logical stuff there from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Absolutely on fire lately for the Edmonton Oilers. Do you have access to the Play More thing? Yeah, we got to do the game of the night. I need to hear it, Coop. Do we have it? If you don't have it, that's okay. Let's hear it.
Play more tables and games.
It makes me laugh every single time. It's our game of the night for Play More tables and games. From ping pong and pool tables to darts and dome hockey, plus all the classic arcade action you could ask for. Visit Canada's Game Room experts, locations in Edmonton and Calgary, or online at playmoregames.ca. So we have 4 games in the National Hockey League. Starting at the bottom of the hour is the Canucks at the Devils. I'm going to make a couple games my game of the night. That'll be one of them. The Canucks' playoff hopes are dwindling. Now, they do have games in hand on St. Louis. The Canucks have 12 games remaining. St. Louis has 10, but the Canucks are 5 points behind. St. Louis has also moved 4 points ahead of Calgary. Calgary has 3 games in hand on the Blues. Blues have a slight advantage in points percentage, but I will make Canucks-Devils a game of the night. The Devils, meanwhile, 3rd in the Metro Division. Possible first-round matchup coming up with the Carolina Hurricanes. I will also make Minnesota and Dallas a game of the night, simply because Dallas is here on Wednesday to face the Oilers. Minnesota could catch up to Colorado. Not likely, though, for 3rd in the Central Division. Dallas trying to stay. Well, Dallas has a pretty good beat on second place at this point. They're 3 up on Colorado with 2 games in hand. But if you want to keep an eye on the Dallas Stars, keep an eye on them tonight playing against the Minnesota Wild. Also tonight, the Blue Jackets play the Islanders and the Red Wings play Utah. So the Red Wings have been trying to stay in that playoff race. They just have 2 wins in their last 10. They're 5 behind Montreal. They'd have to pass 4 teams. Tough for them. And Utah, we talked about them coming into Edmonton last week. They're pretty much out of it now in the Western Conference. 6 points behind Minnesota. Again, Utah does have games in hand on Minnesota, but they'd have to pass Vancouver, Calgary, and St. Louis. So Red Wings at Utah. That it's not quite a must-win, but it's getting close for both those teams. The games of the night presented by Play More Tables and Games. So, yeah, the Oilers week ahead. You got the Dallas Stars at 8 o'clock on Wednesday, then in Seattle on Thursday to play the Kraken again, and then they will host the Calgary Flames. Rams fan says, click, click, click. I have clicked. Barry the Cheater says, Cylons, let's talk more about Daleks. Is it Daleks or Daleks? That's from Dr. Hugh. Dr. Who, wasn't it?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Well, you were shaking your head like you knew, and then I brought it in, and you're like shaking. Then you're shaking your head negative.
I don't know. It's an interesting term. I haven't heard of it.
I think that is from Doctor Who, which I never got into. See, I'm not as big a sci-fi person as people think. I just have very specific tastes. Keep clipping the thumbs up on YouTube, by the way. We're 5 away from getting to 130, which is word of the day territory, and then we can make one final push for 100, and which would be double word of the day territory. Did you watch any of the NCAA basketball, Coop?
I actually did not. I don't even know where my bracket stands. I'm going to be honest.
In our league, our control bracket is okay, I think. I'm okay in the pool my buddy runs. My buddy in Calgary that I went to Nate with, so I've been doing his pool for probably 26, 27 years. I am in dead last out of 23 people.
Well, you can't get any worse. That's a positive thing, right?
There's nowhere to go but up, Coop. Thank you for putting a positive spin on it. I am absolutely dead last. 2 of my final 4 teams are gone. One of my Final Four teams lost the very first game of the tournament. That was Louisville. I had St. John's in the Final Four. They're out. So I have thrown my $10 away in that pool.
It's a lot of money to throw away, Reid.
Now, the EST pool was free.
Yes.
And if you go on ESPN, the fantasy page, there are 4 pages worth of teams. I'm on the final page. So I think I'm just above last place.
No, hey, there we go.
Wilkins Werewolves is the name of my team. The Toothless Werewolves. They're werewolves that do not transform into wolves. They just transform into like small Chihuahua puppies. They're not quite werewolves yet.
They will be one day.
One day they will grow up. Mike, the Michigan fan, says, we are tied for 97th, Reid. It's going to be a nail-biter to see who wins our side bet. No one's going to win, Mike, the Michigan fan. We're both going to wind up in well, we can't have identical brackets the rest of the way. So I doubt we'll wind up tied. Also, I should update, even though I don't really have one. I sort of do. Are you in the F1 pool that Gager runs? I know I ask you that every week. I can never remember.
Yeah, I am. I got 2 separate teams, and they're very,
well, we all got to put 2 teams in.
Right. But one's like way bottom, like 25th or something like that.
What do we have, 32 teams in that?
I think 30 or 29 because Tommy always forgets to add the second one. He did now. He did now. I'm just poking.
So I think I'm 15th or 16th. So I don't
like
even know.
Neck.
What was it, the Chinese? It was the Chinese Grand Prix on the weekend?
Yeah, Chinese
No, my
GP,
one team is either 15 or 16th, and then my other one is almost last. Because you can pick different teams.
Well, there's still so much
I don't know who
right?
the Oscar, what's his name, won.
Piastri?
Yes, I was going to say Pistorius, but that's not who won.
He had a bad showing in that first race. Like he was neck and neck up there with Lando Norris, who got the win, his teammate, right?
It is kind of, I don't know what the word is, liberating, doing fantasy sports about a sport I know virtually nothing about.
Because you have no skin in the game.
Yeah,
either,
and
right?
there's no money involved.
Yeah.
And even with the NCAA, $10, okay, minimal for fun. And, you know, I won it a couple years ago and you win $200 or whatever it is. So, but with F1, I know the big name drivers. I know the famous races. I understand how auto racing works. You drive really fast in an effort to be the first person across the finish line. I'm not going to get into it to the extent that Gager has. Gager will sit in our green room here, in our bullpen, and watch the F1 channel. And I'll say, oh, you're watching practice? Well, it's actually a recording of practice from last night. Oh, really? Like, he'll watch a replay of practice, not even the actual competition. Yes, Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice. And then he can flip. Did you see this? He can change the feed somehow, and it's some sort of bar graph that shows you how fast each guy is going or the progress
intense,
he's making.
yeah.
It's amazing, the information. I guess maybe that's part of it. There's nothing they're not giving you in terms of information.
No, it's so scientific. It goes down to every minute detail and all the facts and stats. They mean everything in this sport. Like with hockey, you got your stats or shots on net and everything, yada, yada. It's getting more advanced as it goes. But compared to F1, it's like peanuts compared to what the F1.
Well, and you can
F1
hear the headset chatter.
Yeah. The F1 TV, it's insane. You can go through every single helmet cam of any racer who's practicing on that day with sprints and stuff like that.
And you can all hear what their team is saying.
Yeah. And sometimes
So the CFL tried that with the mic'd up. A few years ago, they tried it, right? Miking up teams for some games.
Mhm.
But as we've learned, what do you really hear of interest? Because we've had players on this show to talk about the play calls. I mean, that one that won Montreal Grey Cup in 2023, you know, it was Y986 nut squat. I just remember it had the term nut squat in it. So you hear that. As a listener, does that enhance the football game for you? I don't think it does. And football, they're so secretive. I remember Hervey and Moss in Edmonton a few years ago got in trouble with the league because we didn't want to wear them. And then Moss was like, oh, I'll wear the microphone on my sock. See how you like that? So they don't really want to do it. And then the stuff that you hear, in my mind, is not rewarding to the listener.
I think it's cool to hear them yelling at each other. Hey, get in the position, yada, yada. Like if Aaron Rodgers or something is in the snap, you hear it in the NFL all the time. I love hearing like in the game because you feel like you're closer. When you're watching on the TV, you get those kind of things that you hear. Even if you're at the stadium, you can't hear it. So it's just the added level of inclusion, I guess. But I understand why people
probably
want it, right?
the stuff you'd want to hear mic'd up is the stuff they wouldn't want broadcast. So a team has, so say it's the NFL and they're 3rd and 5. I would like to hear the head coach saying to the offensive coordinator, all right, if you can get 3 yards, I'll go for it on 4th down. Those little things so you would know things ahead of time, or even some of the interaction with officials, but they're probably not going to mic up for that. They're probably not going to make that available. I'd even love, you know what I would love to hear? I would love to hear the NHL war room and the refs talking about goaltender interference.
That's the one, yeah.
That's the one I'd like to hear a mic of that live.
To try and figure out if it was goalie interference or not.
What are you actually talking about? What's taking so long?
How is your weekend,
going into
Rob?
this decision? Yeah, they're just killing time. We should probably make it seem like we're thinking about this one.
No, when they think about it for that long, though, they need the explanation.
But F1 has gone to a new level with the access, and that has pulled people in. Because what's the show called? Drive to Survive?
Drive to Survive.
Which, by the way, dissenting opinion, overrated show. A few years ago, I finally watched the first episode, and I was like, okay, it's fine. I didn't want to keep watching.
It's a cool show.
But it's pulled up, Gager got into F1 because of that show. It didn't really work for me as much.
Yeah, I have friends who it's really hit and miss, who they really got into F1 as well because of that show, but I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes of it. I think it's cool behind the scenes, kind of, it's like the face-off inside the NHL. Of course, it happened before.
Right.
But it doesn't have a pull, really, for me at all.
But anyway, we're in the F1 pool. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if you know what you're doing. I think Cass is winning, though. I think Matt Cassian's on top.
Duhan it again? Duhan and Duhan
Is that
it
what
again?
it's called? Yeah, that's what it's called.
Because that's one of the racer names.
Oh, right. Okay.
Very clever name.
We're in the Canadian Brewhouse studio. By the way, sharpen your skills before the courses open at the Canadian Ice House. Our TrackMan golf simulators are open. Real golf action in downtown Edmonton. Visit us in-store or at thecanadianicehouse.com for more info. I do have a question. What the heck is traveling? I thought I saw it, and I've been told I didn't see it. We'll dive into that.
Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch addressed the media after practice today, saying that both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are, quote, still going to be a while, so we're going to play a couple games without them, at least. In a light NHL schedule has Minnesota on the road in Dallas, Utah hosting Detroit. Thatcher Demko returning for the Canucks after he's missed time since early February with a lower body injury. They'll battle the Devils, and Columbus visits Long Island. No Grady Dick or RJ Barrett for the Raptors. They're underway against the Washington Wizards early in the first quarter. Washington's up 11-5 on the Raptors, and 2 other games are live. The Pacers lead by 4 over the Timberwolves, and the Magic and the Lakers are tied at 12. Seeing both games in the first quarter. After that, Anthony Davis gets welcomed back to the Mavericks as they take on the Nets, seeing 8 games around the association. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring. Join them at the Home and Garden Show at the Expo Center this weekend to see their exciting new products and for a chance to win a free floor. That's right. You can also visit them at their showroom that's open 7 days a week or buy online at ParamountFlooring.ca. What is traveling? Reid Wilkins breaks it down on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
TSN's Darren Dreger, your hockey insider today.
Maybe it's a bit of a blessing in disguise that McDavid and Draisaitl get dinged up a little bit with a dozen games left so that they can properly be managed and the rest is there and it's built in. Edmonton doesn't have to worry about the rest of the regular season. They can't go off the cliff, clearly, but they can manage these dinged up players.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by Southport Chevrolet. Weekday mornings 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Love is in the air. I love you.
And you? And you? And you!
Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
Missing the course? The Canadian Ice House is here to keep your skills sharp. Trackman golf simulators are open. Real golf action right in downtown Edmonton. Don't let the off-season slow you down. Visit us in-store or check out thecanadianicehouse.com for all the details.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino.
Someday you'll be shedding your tears.
A one-of-a-kind retrospective. It's Glass Tiger, This Island Earth, April 4th at River Cree Resort and Casino.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on it.
Hey, Coop, great work, buddy. Reid Wilkins flying solo today. Jason Milne is off today and the next couple of days. We did have Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show in studio, talking Oilers, talking Nuge, talking expectations for draft picks, talking Western Hockey League playoffs. Oil Kings are going to be playing PA in the first round, and talking Western Hockey League expansion, going to Penticton for this coming season, and then Chilliwack the year after that. Oilers practice today. McDavid and Draisaitl not expected to play the 3 games this week, though Draisaitl closer to a return. So we'll see how they can keep doing here without the 2 big guys in the lineup. The Oilers are not slated to practice tomorrow as they prepare for the Dallas Stars coming up on Wednesday night. Zachary Kubish joining me as well. All right, Kub, I was watching the NCAA tournament this weekend. Yesterday I was able to kind of sit and watch some games and chill out. And the game between Colorado State, a number 12 seed, and number 4 Maryland turned out to be an incredible game. Lots of lead changes. Colorado State goes up late. Maryland gets a final possession to try to win it, and a young man by the name of Derek Queen makes a dramatic buzzer-beating shot. And then they showed it in slow motion. And I was at my parents', and my dad and I were watching. And I looked at my dad and I said, "Did he travel? Are you rolling it now for the people on YouTube?" Now, it's a great shot. It's a difficult shot. But I thought to myself, did he travel? So this is buying or selling for Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. By the way, we have the word of the day scheduled to go off in about 20 minutes or so. Oh, we've made word of the day territory, Coob. We need about 20 thumbs to get to double word of the day territory. So rally, tell 2 friends. Oh, I'm not plugged in. Tell 2. Oh, here, I'll plug in. Here we go.
When I first tried Fabergé Organic shampoo with pure wheat germ oil and honey, it was so good I told 2 friends about it, and they told 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on.
All right. So tell 2 friends to check out the show, subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk, give us the thumbs up. Let's see if we can get to 155. Mike, the Michigan fan, already chiming in. 100% that was a travel. For the YouTube viewers, can we show it again? So Derek Queen gets the ball up top of the key and goes to his left, and he cradles the ball with his left arm kind of against his body and takes a big stride with his right foot, and then takes one more stride and then jumps and makes an incredible shot. I mean, I don't want to understate what a difficult play this was. But when I saw it in slow motion, I thought to myself, wait a minute, he took 2 steps without dribbling. Now, I should clarify, that's over the course of time more or less become legal in basketball. Is anybody with me that when you were in gym in like 1982 in phys ed and you were told you can't take more than one step without dribbling? Is that how you learned it, Coop?
I don't think I ever.
You're way
learned to
younger than me.
travel.
You're 30 years younger than me.
Well, we always gave each other like an extra step, it seemed like, because I never understood the travel. In my life, I'm like, is it 2 steps? Is it 3 steps? And then we play, and our teachers are just like, whatever. Just keep playing. It doesn't matter.
Just don't run like you're playing football or something like that.
Yeah, dribble the ball every once in a while. We didn't go through the whole. Yeah.
No. So here's the thing. So I go online, and I start seeing some people complaining. It's traveling, and then I see other people saying it's not traveling. So I watched this morning. So Gene Steratore, first of all, this is an interesting guy. Gene Steratore is and this is one of the, speaking of things that are great about broadcasting these days, adding the former referee who can analyze calls has been one of the greatest things that's happened. I think the NFL did it first. So Gene Steratore does this for the NFL, and he's also doing NCAA. He was also an NCAA basketball ref on top of being an NFL referee. So pretty cool career. So he broke it. He was on with Barkley and Kevin and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson on the panel there, and he said it's not traveling. Like he said, you're once you have full possession of the ball, then they start counting steps. Dwayne from Tway in the Nest said, I thought you were allowed 2 steps. Didn't he take 3? You could probably break it down and say that he did. So Gene Steratore, I trust. I mean, I can look at my eyes and say, if I did that in intramurals in grade 2, I would have been called for traveling. Well, okay, different situation. So I contacted a referee that I know, and I said, like, what do you think? This referee that I know does Canada West and U Sports games. And I'm just going to read you what this referee wrote to me. In FIBA, for sure it isn't traveling because you get what they call a 0-1-2 step when gaining control of the ball. I believe NCAA is similar with what they tend to call a gather step. But for traveling, you have to be in control of the ball and keep control, which means it comes to rest on one or both hands. He seems to cradle with his left hand/arm, which could qualify, but it seems like there's a bit of a bobble between his hands partway through, which he then settles down and makes the shot. So for me, it was a good goal, good no call, not a travel. So that's an explanation from somebody who referees and has to watch for traveling, is that you're kind of allowed a gather step when you're gathering the ball, and then you can still step after that. Whereas in my mind, if you're in the process of gathering the ball, you're stopping to dribble, so then you should only get a step after that, but they kind of give you a gather step and then even another step, if that makes sense. And then this ref that I know said, and I'll finish with this last piece of advice I received from an NBA ref when I was at a summer training camp. If you have to look at it 4 times in slow motion to try and decide if it's a travel, then it is not a travel. And he says, wise words, in my opinion. Now, does this remind you of anything in the National Hockey League? If you have to look at it in slow motion 4 times to make a call, maybe you shouldn't be making a call. So I even wrote back to my referee buddy. I said, good point. I wish the NHL felt the same about goalie interference. And he said, it's funny, as I was typing that, I thought the exact same thing. So now, and again, at full speed, I didn't think it was traveling. On the replay, I was like, wait a minute, didn't he grab the ball and then take a step that I thought he was coming off his pivot foot and then take another step and then leap and shoot? And plus, the definition of traveling, I think, has changed over the course of my lifetime to more than 1 step to perhaps more than 2. So, but also if you have to look at it and slow it down, is it worth calling? And I think we can tie this into goaltender interference in the National Hockey League. If you have to look at a rebound frame by frame by frame by frame, and then you're picking apart, well, he's sort of... and that's what worried me with the goal that I think got credited to Jeff Skinner against Winnipeg, when Hyman was driving the net. And at first I thought, how could Arneal even challenge this? Like, this is a stupid play by the Jets. And then on about the 8th time I saw the replay, I mean, the puck went 5-hole on Hellebuck, and the reason his stick wasn't there was because he was swinging it in from off his right hip, and in the process of moving it towards himself, it hit Hyman's skate. And in the NHL, the rule is basically if an attacking player is in the crease and does something to prevent the goaltender from making the save, it's goaltender interference. And I think they kindly said, oh, his foot wasn't quite in the crease when Hellebuck's stick hit it, so it's incidental contact. I think if Hyman's foot is another 8 inches closer to Hellebuck, that goal would have been waved off, which would have been very frustrating. And I can't remember who I was talking to on the weekend. It was Speck or somebody else who said, battling for position is part of hockey. Like, shouldn't goalies have to battle as well? I used to have Kelly Rudy weekly on the show I did previously, Inside Sports. And even he said once, he goes, when I played in the NHL, I didn't think I was some precious little breakable thing that couldn't be touched. He said, I thought I had to fight for my ice. He goes, now, if a guy is running me or hooking my stick or blatantly knocking me over, yes, I've been interfered with. But I have to battle for my ice. And whereas now I think in the NHL, goaltenders like, I couldn't move. Oh, look, I was reaching and the guy was there. I couldn't make the save. I think that's kind of what's happening. And then the NHL looks at these and plus now coaches and the video coaches have this data bank of all the calls that have been made. And what did I ask Knobloch after Saturday's game? There was a lot going on the challenge of the Seattle goal, which the Oilers won. What were you actually thinking was goaltender interference? And he said, well, it wasn't the hacking of the puck under the pad, because we saw from earlier in the season that doesn't always go our way. And then Tom made a good point. It was the Michkov goal back, wasn't that the 3rd or 4th game of the season against Philadelphia? Now, if you blatantly hack the pad, it shouldn't count. But if you're hacking the pad and the puck is there, and then you're hitting the puck along with the pad, they kind of let you get away with that. But then in that one, you had Hayden from Seattle going into the crease and knocking Skinner back. So that's actually what they were challenging, which is what I thought it was, but I wanted to get it from the coach to get his explanation. But this is why, I think a lot of fans like you listening are saying, why are we slowing anything down? Why are we slowing everything down? Right? So if you have to look at something frame by frame to make a call, is it worth looking at? I mean, we're hearing the same things about somebody put in about offside in the NHL. Like, if it's that close, is it really offside and affecting the play? Anyway, it's just when he wrote that about the traveling, it made me think of goaltender interference. McBrownmark says traveling is more than 2 steps. See, I always thought it was more than 1 step when you've thought, but I think things have changed too. And didn't the NBA redefine traveling a few years ago too? Sean says, who was the referee who said it wasn't a travel? Wes McCauley? Not Fred says, Reid, at our age, if you have to look at it more than 4 times, did it happen? Well, that applies to me multiple times a day. All right. And Fred says, you are allowed 2 steps. In basketball, traveling is a violation where a player holding the ball takes more than 2 steps without dribbling or illegally moves their pivot foot. Yeah, and I guess maybe that's where I'm not grasping it, not Fred, or maybe not grasping it is the right word, but maybe looking at it in an old-fashioned way. I look to think, oh, that's his pivot foot, But I think that maybe my mistake is the rule now gives the guy another step to establish his pivot foot, whereas I'm thinking it's established earlier. If that makes sense. I mean, clearly I'm wrong here to have thought it was traveling. I'm not trying to say that I was right. I'm just saying perhaps my grasp of traveling, I'm antiquated is what I'm saying. I'm a relic. I'm an old fossil, Coob, when it comes to traveling. 780-218. Coob's working away on something. He can't be bothered with what I'm talking about. 780-218-9999 is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant. All you can eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday. And that is from 4 to 10 p.m. I'll tell you what, we got to take a time out. The Coob's got to do an update. We are about 15 thumbs away from a double word of the day. You guys have done a great job rallying for word of the day territory. Let's get to double word of the day because Coob has the words standing by.
Click, click, click. Must you click? Please, please click. Must you click? You must click. Thumb, thumb, thumb.
Both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will miss at least a couple more games, according to Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch, who spoke to the media this morning. And there's 4 games around the NHL tonight. Thatcher Demko takes the crease for Vancouver for the first time since early February. He's been out of action with a lower body injury. They hit the ice in New Jersey. And the Red Wings take on the Hockey Club. The Wild have puck drop with the Stars, while the Blue Jackets face the Islanders. And 3 games are live in the NBA. The Raps trail the Wizards 32-28. Nearing the end of the first quarter, the Timberwolves are down by 4 points against the Pacers at the start of the second quarter. While entering the second frame, the Lakers are up 30-26 on the Magic. And after that, there's 5 other games, including Anthony Davis returning for the Mavericks against the Nets, Philly duking it out against New Orleans, and Chicago hitting the court in Denver. The final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show on this Monday edition follows after the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
Get your fix every single game with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
All right. Appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. I have not been able to find the commercial I was talking about. Our off-topic topic for William Huff was the most overplayed / annoying commercial that you can remember. I bring this up because I think we're going to be seeing Beyonce's rear in the Levi's jeans playing pool quite a bit during the NCAA tournament, maybe during the National Hockey League playoffs as well. I remember a commercial that was played during NFL playoff games on ITV / Global 20 to 30 years ago, where they put this chain around a mountain and then made it look like the mountain was being pulled away by the chain. It was a local company. It wasn't a national ad. It wasn't like a big time Chevrolet or Ford or something like that. But I can't find it. I can't remember the exact thing. A couple people sent me an ad of a Chevrolet commercial of a Chevrolet hauling trucks and a big mountain of rocks. That wasn't it. But I can't remember what it was. What was the winner, Coop, or the winner, so to speak? The Rogers Red Tag. What was it called? The Rogers Red event?
The Rogers Wrapped in Red event.
Wrapped in Red event was the one that people said was the most annoying one of all time. I don't remember that one. Well, I remember that one, but I don't remember it as much as other people. I guess I've forgotten about that one. But certainly this because it was such a cheesy, low budget, borderline poorly produced commercial, and they just kept putting it on and putting it on. Like, geez, does it get uncomfortable after a while when the same commercial's on over and over again? You kind of feel like, where do I look?
I probably
Even if
know
you're
it
watching the game
verbatim
by yourself.
too. Like,
yeah,
you watch it 50
which I guess is
times,
effective advertising. But if it makes you mad, then is it so effective? Well, I don't know. I make a lot of people mad, and they still watch.
I know. What was it? There some company who sold jewelry. They would buy back-to-back spots on the radio. I never heard it before, but they would play the same commercial back-to-back, and the same exact one. So for 60 seconds, you'd hear it.
What
right?
station was this on?
I'm not sure
And you
which
think
one
they
exactly.
bought it that way? They asked
did
for it to
on
be that way?
purpose.
They
yeah.
did it on purpose.
Somebody at one of my NATE instructors told me that they did that because it's just genius marketing. They're like, why am I hearing the same commercial again?
Well, I guess if you remember the
right?
name of it, yeah. But if it makes people not want to shop there out of spite, then I don't know.
It has a negative connotation. Oh, do I really want to go buy at that? I don't know.
Well, advertising does work because we keep doing it.
Well,
as,
it's the
as
only
we're
name
here
you know.
in the Canadian Brewhouse studio.
Yeah, it works. I love the Canadian Brewhouse.
Yeah, it's great. 780-218-9999, the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. Again, the Oilers skated today. Looks like we will not have neither McDavid nor Draisaitl in a game this week, though maybe a little more likely with Connor McDavid. Nuge continuing to do very well. Matthias Ekholm did not practice today. The Oilers will not practice tomorrow, so likely back on the ice for the morning skate before they play Dallas on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Then they'll fly right after that game to Seattle to play on the road against the Kraken on Thursday evening. If you were in the nasty chat, I'll tell you what, everybody, we need, let's just say 10 thumbs. If we can get 10 thumbs in the next few minutes, we'll do a double word of the day. So let's rally and click away because Coob is dying. Like, I think he's eager to give me 2 words of the day. Maybe he doesn't really care.
I have 2 prepped tonight. I looked at some words. I dug a little bit for these ones. I'm excited.
I'm also very excited, as you could judge by that. Yeah, it's this was an interesting discussion about the whole traveling thing. And look, I got no skin in the game about an NCAA game, who wins, or I don't even know who I had in my bracket. It just, when I saw that play at slow motion, it instinctively looked a little goofy to me. But judging from the official I talked to, other officials I've seen talking about it, it was not traveling. McBrownmark says the Spence Diamonds commercials. Were those the ones with the very borderline creepy sounding guy? Okay, side note, we used to make fun of those on Ched.
Well, yeah, it comes up
like,
and you're like, what is going on here?
Because what was the guy's name? It was sort of an unusual,
Michael.
or like, but was it the other guy?
Callum,
yes. It's
yeah.
Hello, Michael. Yes, Callum. And it was very like, I'm trying to lure you into my basement.
Yeah, they did that on purpose too, and they did a full story of it, like each commercial, each quarter or whatever.
Well, if you
they
put
would
them
do
all
new
together,
commercials, and it would make a full story.
But they
right?
they were weird and not a good weird. Like, hopefully this show most of the time is a good weird. Like, we know it's weird, but those were like, hello, Michael. Yes, Callum. Would you like to see my diamond? Oh, where is it? Well, I just happened to keep it down my trousers. Like, it was a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Like, where is this going?
What are we listening to here, boys?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm glad people brought those up. Nick's son says, what are your expectations for the Stars game? What are my expectations for the Stars game? Well, my hopes are is that the Oilers just play with some intelligence and detail like they've played the last couple of games without the big guys. I'm not going to give you a score prediction or tell you who to bet on, Nick's son. That's your cool bet to count as your own, baby. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I don't know. I expect every game to be a tough game. I think, here's what I'm going to say. I think one of the next 3 games probably will not go well for the Oilers, and we're going to be saying to ourselves, yep, that's life without the big guys. Sometimes just nothing clicks. But I do think they can survive the next 3 games and play well and be a difficult out. But I think the logical part of my mind says to me, they are 2 of the top 5 players in the NHL. They are incredible at driving offense and controlling the puck and keeping plays alive. Like, it would be almost as if, a baseball team has to play a week without an elite leadoff hitter and an elite power hitter who bats 3rd or 4th. You can scrap out runs, but eventually you might lose just because you don't have the talent in the lineup. I think in one of these next 3 games, Nixon, we're going to say that. It might even be a game where the Oilers have a good effort and play well, but it's just going to be like, holy crap, it's hard to win night after night without those guys. I think that'll happen in one of the next 3 games. I'm not saying it's going to happen against Dallas. Quite frankly, of the next 3 games, the one I might be the most concerned about is going into Seattle on the back-to-back. And Seattle's kind of due for a better game against the Oilers. I think that's actually the most concerning game for me out of these 3. I think they're going to play hard against the Stars.
Well, they should. Like, I don't know. They're kind of building that little bit of a rivalry, I guess you could say, just because of last year. And, of course, the history goes with the Oilers. But I don't know. Maybe former Dallas star Matthias Janmark could do something. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Dave in Section T says, when the new boss of the Diamond Company was creeping on the female pitch girl, I had to switch stations or turn down the volume. Too creepy. Yeah, Big Uke says there was a Sarah character in the commercials too. It's interesting, when I put out this off-topic topic, I was specifically talking about TV commercials. We got a surprising number of radio entries as well. And some commercials I know very well because they were on Chet a lot. A couple might be on this station, but we didn't get too many of those. But the Spence Diamond commercials, they were like, what is going on? Kellen Kennedy and I would like make fun of those off air all the time. I wouldn't have said that while I was working at Chet and they were giving us money, but now I can say it.
Well, yeah, it sticks out more than any other commercial, and you have to try and be a little bit different. You can't cut and paste, cut, paste, like write the commercials and do the same thing all the time.
Michael.
Yeah. I wonder who writes, like, how fun do you have? Like, how much fun do you have when you write those commercials, You alternate.
But didn't
reality
they know they were going to be like, these just don't, I don't know. Well, we still remember them. I don't know.
Exactly.
For the
I'll
right
probably
reasons,
remember
though.
them for a while.
All right. We're only going to do one word of the day because I'm strict about the thing. We're at 145 thumbs. We need to get to 155. Plus we're short on time because we were talking about weird diamond commercials. So a single word of the day today.
Which one all right. I'm going to do the word of the day.
Limerick from the Big Uke.
Oh.
Don't you put it in your mouth, truly an annoying commercial. Not as bad as the General with insurance to sell. No Oilers tonight. Watch TGL, just might. Beyonce's butt on TV, the brand of jeans I can't tell. That is from the Big Uke. He's a good guy.
That's very good.
All right, word of the day. We got about 90 seconds for it.
All right, taradiddle is the word of the day. Taradiddle.
Taradiddle.
Taradiddle, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm gonna go with my first instincts for this one, and slightly off the board, perhaps. And you're gonna know if I'm wrong on the first letter. Taradiddle.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was maybe like pterodactyl.
What's the rest? Sorry.
I was gonna spell it PTERADIDDYL.
Not a lot there. TARADIDDLE. Taradiddle.
Like, it's like that.
it's Kind of how it
I
sounds.
went like
Not
maybe it's
terra.
like pterodactyl. That's why I put the
Yeah,
silent
no,
P
that's
at the
a-
beginning.
Good thought. Okay.
Teradiddle. I don't even know how to break this down. Like I know there's such things as terabytes, but I don't think they're spelt that way.
It is
I
not
know,
computer.
I know Terra could relate to Earth, but that is TERRA, not TARA. This has to be a combination of a couple of things. I don't know what the overarching idea or origin of this word might be.
It's a very out there word.
Teradiddle. I'm going to say it's a measurement of distance between planets.
I like that. That's really
You said
good.
it was out there.
Well, it is out there. I guess I gave you the wrong, put you in the wrong space. The word is, it's a word used when something someone is talking about is a lie or over exaggerated. Teradiddle. So it's like
wow.
a fib kind of, I don't know, a mix of a fib and over exaggeration, I guess you could say.
Wow.
It's a teradiddle.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I learned something today.
Yeah, put that one in your back pocket.
All right, fun show. Back tomorrow. Again, the Oilers will be off. We'll still have some hockey talk. Dave Jameson scheduled to join me in studio. There is a news conference at 11 at West Edmonton Mall for the 3x3 tournament. So I'm going to go to that. So we'll have some information from that. Who knows what other fun stuff we're going to come up with. On behalf of Zachary Kubish, I'm Reid. Thanks for checking out the show.